Mixed Nuts is recorded in front of a live social media audience. Coming to you live from the luscious loins of LaPel, Indiana. It's Bullshep. I'm hanging out with JJ Pearson today, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
We're getting Canadianism.
Thunderous applause.
Yeah, we're getting Canadian as a motherfucker. How you been, man?
I'm very well, very well.
Hell yeah.
Been working hard all day, so I'm a wee bit sore. And the chair that he just plunked me in, I don't think I'm going to be able to get out of it when we're done.
It's comfy.
So however long the show is, I think I'm stuck here for the whole bit.
Hell yeah. These couches that we have here in City, we've actually had these from pretty much the very beginning, and they're like they've been through hell and back. Yeah, they're
cushy. Yeah,
super comfortable.
Nice and comfy. I'm good. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I've been trying to get in shape. Got a tour coming up, so I've been doing a few workouts a day, so I'm feeling kind of good.
Good. Getting ready.
A quick disclaimer: the computer screen does add 10 pounds to your
right. We're like 40 pounds over here, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't actually look like what you see, but no, doing good.
Hell yeah, man. So how was your trip up here? Was it pretty good?
It was good. Yeah, this is definitely Hoosierville.
Oh yeah.
It was like. It was very Mayberry coming through the little town of LaPel, the beautiful burg of LaPel.
Yeah, if you just kept driving past my house, you'd left LaPel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's so small, man.
There was some bar that I passed by. And then there was another thing. It was like a funeral home and a restaurant. What the fuck was that?
Oh,
the station or something?
So the station is like...
Is that part of the funeral?
No. Oh. But it sure as fuck looks like it, right?
It's like, hey, the station funeral home. Come and get a burger and
Did your uncle die today? Stop by and get a sub 50% off with all family deaths. Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
It was... I kind of look back and like, what the hell did I just see? But no, that was funny.
Yeah, there's a brewery actually right there next to them too. Yeah. Pax Verum, and they have their own beer, and they got food and stuff. Yeah. There's outside of the funeral home, there's only like 3 other places to eat in LaPel. So there's like 2 pizza places, a Mexican spot,
and there was a spot I saw that I definitely want to hit because I bet you it's got a really good burger. Is the ice cream place or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Does it have burgers or is it just ice cream?
I think they do have hot food.
I was gonna say I bet you it's like the best damn chili dog or something.
Oh, I bet the only thing I've ever got, I always take my kids there to get ice cream. We'll walk down there and stuff, but not a far walk.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Not a far walk.
Actually, coming out here, it looks like you got everything you need right here. You know, you can stumble out the back and
I mean, there's a Family Dollar over by the liquor store, right. And that's like the LaPel grocery store.
It's the evil family. I drive a truck now, and there was one run I used to do in Ohio somewhere. But I'm driving along, not interstates, but state roads or whatever. It's like, Jesus Christ, Family Dollar. So I said, every whatever. So I said, I'm gonna keep track of it. Every 5 miles, there was a Family Dollar. 5 miles, almost right when it's getting ready to click for the 5th mile. Boom, Family Dollar. So they must have some contract thing that it has to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's just shit.
Yeah, man. They don't really have a whole lot, and then their freezers. It's just.
And you get the Dinny Moore stew packs or whatever that it's actually good for truckers. You can nuke a nice little Dinny Moore stew.
How many hours do you put out a week doing that?
Driving 70.
Oh shit.
Well, I was up until recently. I'm in a little bit of a gif with my company. I'm kind of mad at them. I've been with them 7 years, almost 8 years, but we had a bit of a pissing contest and I left for about 8 months. But I was doing a run to Huntsville, Alabama, and I loved it. I'm home every other night, off on the weekends. And so if I'm going to drive, I want to drive. I don't want to just do.
Yeah, stop.
I want to go. And I get better sleep in my truck because when you're on the road, you're done at the end of the day. Well, there's all these laws that we got to follow with the time we're allowed to drive and all that shit. And when you stop, you got to stop for 10 hours. And when I'm coming home, I got to go to the terminal, park my truck, unhook, blah, 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 do my paperwork, whatever, get my car, drive home. Oh, maybe stop for gas. Boom, go take the dog for a walk, do the dishes, then go to bed, and then get up and come, with the truck, you're done. There's my TV, there's my microwave, there's the fridge, there's the bed, flip, put on Hogan's Heroes and eat a burrito, and I'm good.
Hell yeah.
So I would get 10 hours sleep and all the time. And when I get home, 7, 8, maybe whatever. But I don't do the Alabama run anymore. I do a run to Franklin Park, Illinois every night. It's basically O'Hare Airport. I think.
See any UFOs out there?
I haven't seen any UFOs. I've seen a lot of crazy shit. Really bad drivers. I'd like to have an online. Everyone who drives, they think they're not the driver that's bad on the highway.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And as a truck driver, I mean, I'm on the highway. I'm driving 10 hours a day, so that's my fucking office. And my truck goes 73.5 miles an hour. So I'm always going 73.5 miles an hour. I have my foot to the floor, or it's cruise control. And cars always go 78, 62, 80.
Yeah.
And like when I'm coming up on a car and they can tell that, a truck's getting ready to pass me, they'll speed up. And it's like, I don't know if it hurts their feelings that a truck's passing or whatever. And then I know in 5 miles, I'm going to be right up their ass again. And God damn it, that truck's fucking with me. It's like, no, I'm going 73.5 miles an hour. You're
right.
And it drives me crazy. And, but I could rant about the drive. When you're getting on the on-ramp on the highway, everybody's got to know it's not, I don't have to get out of your way. You're merging onto my highway when you whatever. But most of us do. But people, they don't have their head fully in the game when they're getting on. They're like, oh, what am I going to do? Something, and they slowly get up to speed or whatever. If you're getting on the highway, either get up to speed or let me pass you, get back in the lane, and then you go up and speed. Don't sit there and with me.
Yeah,
it's one of my pet peeves. Yeah, and
just go.
Just go.
Yeah.
Either go or let me blast past you and get back in my right lane where I'm going to stay in the right lane and go 73.5 miles an hour all night long.
Yeah.
And then do whatever the fuck you're going to do and get out of my phone.
I'm definitely more of on the offense. Like if I'm coming up and I see a truck and I'm like, well, I just
blast them. Just go.
Get out of your way.
Because we can't, if we have to slow down, it takes me another fucking 10 miles to get back up to speed. So it's like, just leave us alone. Go,
Do you ever have to do you have to take the truck to Indy at all? Like to the Spaghetti Bowl or anything?
Oh yeah. No, yeah, it's terrible. And it's Chicago is terrible. But that's one good thing about driving at night is I hit all the Chicago bullshit at very late at night. So it's not too bad.
Yeah, I fucking hate driving in Chicago.
And everyone in Chicago thinks they're the really good fucking traffic highway driver, 60 miles an hour, zipping in. And it's like, yeah, motherfucker, I hate them. Yeah.
Dude, it's so wild up there. Every time I'm up there, I just set my cruise control.
Boom,
and let
best
it ride.
thing to do. Yeah,
yeah. Fuck that.
That's if I could give one tip to everybody, use your fucking cruise control. So you're going the same speed. Because then when I'm driving, I can judge, I know trucks, some trucks go 68, some go 63, some go 72, some go, and I can tell where I'm going to pass this guy or I'm not going to be able to pass that guy. And then four-wheelers come in and they fuck everything up because they're going everywhere, 45 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour. You don't know what they're, and it drives me crazy.
You got any crazy stories while you've been out doing that?
Doing okay. You hear of the lot lizard stories or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And nothing ever came, whatever. I was like, it's a bunch of bullshit. And one day I was at a truck stop, and all the trucks were parked almost like in this big circle facing each other. There's a big open. It was kind of weird. There was an open, just nothing in the middle. And I had just got a shower and coming back to my truck, and there's a dog running around. I was like, oh fuck! And I was trying to, I'm worried about this dog getting hit. And I hear this, come here, baby, come here, baby. And it was a woman. She grabs the dog. I'm like, oh, thank God. And then the dog takes off, and she comes walking up to me, and I said, oh, fuck, I thought that was your dog. And she goes, oh, no, it's been running around here for about 4 or 5 days. And I thought, what the fuck is she doing here for 4 or 5 days? And then she looks me dead in the eyes, and she goes, you want me to suck your cock? Because I got big titties, and I do it really good. I'm like, oh, well. I was like, no, I'm good. She's like, I'm sure you are. Like, no, sweetheart. I'm just going to my truck, going to bed. Look down. But yeah, she goes, I got big titties and I do it really good. I'm sure you do, sweetheart.
I think I have a no, hold on.
Sexin' song.
There it is. Bronson, little Bronson voice over there.
Yeah.
So Danny chimed in.
Big Danny.
Yeah, he said,
oh, hi, baby.
I'd
there you go. Yeah,
blast you, baby. And,
Danny, my lover.
And my my mom chimes in. Hi, Mom. I went on an undercover with 2 cops looking for lot lizards.
Oh, nice.
Back in probably Ashland or Norwalk, Ohio.
There was my CB. The last 2 trucks I've had, I haven't been able to hook up my CB, but I had my CB, and I'm driving along. It was right by Bloomington, and a woman gets on there and says, hey, any of you drivers need to offload your load, go to 17. And I was like, what?
Over the radio?
Yeah. And I was like, what the? And they're like, oh, Jesus. And they meant, go to channel 17. We could talk private.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you want to offload your load? And it was like, so there is even ones on the CB radio calling.
they got it in their fanny pack. And CB radio running around.
I suck that dick. Yeah, I suck that dick. I suck that dick. Oh,
that's great, man.
No, it's scary stuff. Oh, one more. There was I was in where the fuck was it? South Carolina. I used to do a run to South Carolina, and I'm just parked. I bobtailed to where I was going to sleep with no trailer. So I'm in the little bobtail area. It's even smaller than where all the big trucks are. And it's by the front. And I'm sitting there fiddling with my phone or doing something. And it just starts pissing down rain and really windy. And I look out my window, and there's a little girl with a umbrella. Not a girl, but a woman with an umbrella. And the umbrella's blowing in the wind. And she looks up and sees me. And I'm like, oh, hop in. Sorry. And she sits down. Oh, thank you so much. And I said, oh my God, yeah, whatever. And she was, she started saying, hey, and like, oh God, no, I was just letting you in because I felt bad because you were getting all drenched. And she was like, I'll take care of you. And I no, I'm good. I just wait till
she didn't go with I'm already all wet, ready to go.
Well, I was just go ahead and wait till the wind dies down.
Could you imagine if she said it in that voice too?
Yeah.
I'm all wet, I'm all ready to go.
Take care of me, baby. Yeah, there's been some close ones. And oh shit, I've been in one wreck. I was going to Alabama, and I just stopped in, I can't remember, somewhere in Kentucky, and got a coffee. Was just getting back up to speed, and I look at the side of the road, and there's 2 like little slits of red light, and I'm like, "What the fuck's that?" And then I look, and I realize it's a trailer on its side with its bottom facing me, and the slits of light are the tail lights of the trailer, and I lock it up. They just bash into the middle of this trailer, and that was the scariest fucking thing. But it basically highway shut down for 6 hours, lines of trucks behind me. And it was kind of cool. This old school trucker, cowboy boots with the metal tips, and he's got the full belt buckle.
Oh yeah.
And he comes up to me and he goes, son, I don't know if anybody's told you, but you did a really good job. And I was like, oh, right on, driver. Thanks. So I felt pretty good. So yeah, in 8 years I've been in one wreck, and it totally wasn't my fault. The driver that was there, he had fallen asleep, and he got thrown out of his windshield of his truck. He was fine. Oh, shit. If he was awake, he probably would have been fucked up. but he was so noodly that it just threw him out the window, and he was, cut up and shit. But that was pretty intense.
Man, yeah, that's fucking crazy.
But yeah, the bottom of his the trailer was like painted flat black, so it was a void. It just looked like nothing with a couple of slits of red light. Oh, what the? By the time I saw it, I skid for like 250 feet and pow, totaled my truck.
Yeah, those things, they take a hot minute to stop, especially if you got a lot of weight on
you. I was fully loaded, so it was, John Deere tractor parts. So it was a good heavy load. I can't remember what my weight was, but it was.
What's the max you could do, like 40?
Your total of 80,000 pounds.
Okay.
It's right around 40 or something.
Yeah. But, so the only reason I could do that is I actually worked as a dispatcher.
Oh yeah,
for a while. That was pretty fun. We use Nextels though.
Yeah, everything we do is text. I'm on a group text with someone from Peoria, Champaign, and Indianapolis, and they give me everything I need to know. But they just started because of insurance. There's been a few wrecks. New guys have wrecked. My boss's insurance company said, okay, we either need $1 million or you put the cameras in every truck. And so we got the cameras now, and it's not just a camera. It shoots forward and backward, and it's triggered by events. If you follow too close, if you of the lanes and if you speed. And so now I got them. I got in some trouble at work. I knew that it recorded events as soon as it goes beep, it's recording. It's always looking, but it's just not keeping any of it. But as soon as it beeps because of going too close or drifting off the lane, it's recording. And I thought it went to like an AI something or other, but apparently it went to my boss's sister, her email, and I was rather. Fuck you piece of fucking shit. And I was complaining about my job and everything. You take my fucking Alabama runaway and I'm in this fucking piece of shit. Fuck this. I hate my fucking job. And so my boss called me and said, hey, Jenny is watching that. And I went, oh. And they said, I said, am I fired? And he says, no, but Mark was going to call you, but I said, let me talk to him first. Yeah. And so now I just, when it's recording, and I'll say stuff like, I was not tailgating, I'm going the speed limit, and the car is well in front of me. I say nice stuff to it. But there's, and I almost feel, because when you're alone in your truck or your car, it's almost like you're alone in your head. It's
absolutely,
because you could say, you cocksucking motherfucker, to the biggest motherfucker that could kick your ass and nothing's going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
And it's, if everybody got into everyone else's head, everyone would think everyone is crazy. If people heard what you think, they'd be like, you're fucking crazy. Well, my boss's sister basically heard what I think.
Yeah.
And I almost wanted to call a lawyer because they didn't tell me that it was coming. It just suddenly one day I went in my truck and there it was.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's nothing I can do about it, but it's just, it feels like a huge invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
If you pick your nose and, and my boss is watching my nose.
Plug it into the camera.
Yeah. And it's just, and you can't say what you normally say, which is just inside your head.
I'm surprised that they allow voice recording.
Yeah, it's a full on documented video of it's I understand the insurance. They need to see the rear to see if I was asleep or on my phone, but to record the audio is really weird.
Yeah,
I feel.
So, like, I worked in pizza forever.
Yeah.
And we've had cameras forever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, in Indiana, you're not allowed to have
audio.
See,
I thought, and a week after it happened and the boss called me and said, hey, the big boss's sister, blah, blah, blah. Then we had a meeting where I was one of the first trucks to have it. He told all the other drivers in my Indianapolis thing that they're, if you don't have it now, it's coming, and this is what it does. and then I told him, hey, this is what it records, because I know now. But I almost thought that's when they should be allowed to start recording me, is when they told me that it's going to happen, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Until then, I wanted to say, I was going to call an old lawyer buddy of mine. Can I call them and say, you have to destroy all the recordings of what you got before and only start now?
Yeah.
And so now I know it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm sure
it's getting pretty wild, because like insurance companies now, they'll give you like a 25% discount. Which, is it really a discount?
No.
Not
I mean,
really.
to get one of those recording things in your car.
Yeah, and it tracks everything.
And they say it, and I laugh at it. They say, okay, you're such a safe driver. Put the thingy-majingy, and your rates will go down. No, it won't. Every time you don't come to a complete stop when you go to a right turn at a thing, right? Every time you're going over the speed limit,
right?
Every time you don't hit the rinse, So I mean, nobody would get lower rates. Everyone that would be fucked.
Yeah, I would definitely be fucked. Yeah. You can look up my ticket history. Yeah. They're all out there. It's got plenty of speeding tickets, plenty of moving violations. So
I see. I've had probably in my years of driving, I haven't had really any tickets except 3 DUIs. But they were 20. The last one was 20 something years ago. But yeah, it was like, I was always so proud of my driving record. I was like, you got 3 DUIs. Well, that doesn't count.
Yeah, I've got plenty of seat belts and failure. I don't know, whatever. I've been hit for plates.
Yeah,
racing.
Yeah, I know. I've gotten
all the things.
I got 1 seat belt and 3 DUIs. Oh, and 1 speeding. Yeah, 1 speeding, 1 seat belt, and 3 DUIs.
Gotta have at least 1 speeding.
Yeah, and then I in my truck, I got 1 warning, because when I was doing the South Carolina run, they gave me it had like 3,000 miles on it, almost a brand new truck, and it didn't have it wasn't governed. It was the first truck I've ever driven that wasn't governed.
Shit.
And I have you ever heard that the song, I got 10 forward gears in Georgia Overdrive, 6 days on the road. There's a line, 10 forward gears in Georgia Overdrive. 10 forward gears is just your gears, and Georgia Overdrive is going down a mountain in neutral. And you just see how fast you can go. And I was so I'm bombing along, and I'm gonna see how fast I can go, and I'm flying down this thing. I was going about 82, and I go, fuck, and I get pulled over, and the cop comes up, driver, and I said, officer, I just got this truck. It's only got 3,000 miles. Every truck I've had was governed at 68, and I totally had no idea until and he goes, all right, I'll give you a warning.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, sweet.
Hell yeah. That's dope. Have you ever had a car that you found out wasn't governed?
No.
Man,
no.
I had a 2014 Mustang.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was racing to get back to my house. We moved the show from Shelbyville into Indy to my place because it got rained out. Yeah. And I was like, well, let's find out what this motherfucker can do. And it's 115. Yeah. By the way, guys, if you don't know that, come on, you need to know that. You should know that. It's 115. That's the governor.
Yeah.
And they didn't put a governor. I was like 120, 125. And then I got my buddy Vinny next to me. He's like, how fast are we going now? I'm like 140. And I got it up to like 155. And I'll tell you what, I had a Civic back in the day. It was a 99, black, fucking whatever. I was a kid, and I burnt that motherfucker out. But I got that up to 145, and that fucker was doing this.
No shit.
But that fucking Mustang cuts you like butter.
Yeah. Now Mustangs, they used to be in like 79, 80-ish. Their engines were way too big for the weight. So they could fly, but they were notoriously
all over the place.
Yeah, a buddy of mine would, see how fast he can go and end up being sideways and shit, because it was just a fiberglass thing with the Mustang stamped on it. This huge fucking engine.
Do you got a favorite car ever?
My favorite car is an MG Midget.
MG Midget. Right on.
And I almost bought one. The wife said, you can go ahead, and there was a guy selling one for $3,000. and it needed some work and all that stuff. And apparently, MGs, you need to be a mechanic or afford one to have one on staff.
Hell yeah,
because they're English pieces of shit motors or whatever. But we were going to do it, and then my doggy got very sick, and Purdue special. It was like $9,000 fucking whatever. So that was I mean, I didn't have the money, but I had access to it. So yeah, we went into considerable debt to save my doggy.
That's sweet.
But, it made him live a little bit longer.
Hell yeah!
Oh my god, doggies! Yeah, we could talk for hours and hours and hours about doggy. Oh, the best doggy story. I'm in. Yeah, thank you. It's San Pellegrino, Mitzwitzen. It's fizzy.
Is that fizzy water?
Fizzy water. I was fizzy water way before fizzy water was cool.
Right on. Hell yeah, hipster JJ.
Yeah. But driving to was it South Carolina or Alabama? Alabama, and I stop in Horse Cave, Kentucky, and to a Love's, pulling in for take a pee, get some coffee, fuel. And as I'm coming in, it's like, oh fuck, I almost hit a possum. I'm like, whatever, and I pull in fuel, coffee, blah blah blah, and I'm driving out, and he's like, oh shit, that's not a possum, that's a dog, and it's following me. It honed in on me, and so I got my 4-way flashers on, making sure no car's gonna hit him, and he follows me out onto the street, and then I'm turning right onto the on-ramp onto the highway, and he starts following me on the highway, and I'm like, fuck. So I pull over, and it's pouring down rain, and this dog runs up and crumples at my feet, and I was like, oh fuck, I got a dog. And that was we call her Blue. I found out it was a girly, and she's got the bluest eyes you've ever seen, and that was a little over a year ago, and she's the greatest doggy.
Oh yeah,
she's a little pitty, and we took her to PetSmart, did the beginners training thing, and she passed. She got a little diploma.
Oh yeah,
and
that's awesome. I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, they the first one I thought there was bullshit. There was too many doggies, and it was, there's a lot of treats, constantly giving them treats, and she didn't like the treats that they had. So we had these ones, and it was like after about 3 or 4 treats, she's like, I'm good, And but there was 6 classes, and every Sunday, and she learned how to sit. She learned how to lie down, take a paw, and leave it, and then to stay and come when called. And I was like, she did all this stuff. So she's a great little doggy.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. You got cats too?
I have one cat, Kenwood cat. What's this? Trouble for plates? What does that mean?
We were talking about moving violations and whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, Jeanette rated your burp at a 2.9.
My who? Oh, my burp.
Yeah, actually, that's why Jeanette's on me. She's like, let's hear a big one from Jonathan Scheffler. And that's why I hit that beer hard. I was like, let's see if I can get
I used
a good
to be
rating.
a champion. One of our songs, "Drunk and Disorderly," the first a master tape compilation. You ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
It's but at the end of it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a big, and I do the swallow air, and that was it. But Rob, the rhythm guitar player, he followed through.
The long one.
Yeah, he used the long one, but it was set up for me to do it, and I failed. I failed under pressure.
Oh, you know what? We could do? It would be fun. Jeanette gave herself a 1.9, and then
3.5
for the air burp. I could do that too, man. Like, hold on. That was weak.
When I was talking about the restaurant I started on Salt Spring Island. On Salt Spring Island, in Ganges, the little town, there's a park there. It's called Centennial Park, and that's where they would have the farmers market and whatever. But at Centennial Park, there's one of those like riding horses, but it's like a group riding horse. So like 4 or 5 people can go on it. And as a kid, I remember the summer that I was on that, and I accidentally swallowed air, and then I burped, and I was like, I remember the day that I found out I can burp anytime I want. I can burp at will. Just
Hey, yeah.
It's coming. Oh, it's trapped.
Oh, that's the worst way.
There's a little bit of burrito in there. But yeah, I remember the day in the summertime of, I don't remember what year, but I remember it clearly when I learned how to swallow air and burp it well.
Hell yeah.
Good story.
Man, oh shit. Jeanette gave you a 6.66.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Thank you, Jeanette. She recognized his talent. What's the 4.99? Am I the 666 or the 499? I think I'm the 499. That was kind of weak. But if you were here, you could hear the rest of it gurgling in here. Shep could hear the gurgling.
Yeah, totally. So you were talking about those horses.
Yeah.
It just gave me an idea. Maybe Toxic Reasons, next time you guys make a music video, you could do a video on those.
I had an idea when we started playing again, because we're kind of old farts. I wanted to get us all, like the three of us. Well, we have Vess in the band now, but when we did in 2018, we went over to Europe and played some shows, and I wanted to do a Toxic Reasons Rides Again and have us sitting on a swoop back nag horse, the three of us. And you know when you're a little kid and they let you ride a horse, but they have like someone trailing it for you. You're not actually riding. I wanted to have that. The three of us on the Toxic Reasons Rides Again.
Hell yeah.
Happy Sunday. Oh, Lisa Maria. Hi. I love her.
Lisa.
And the Cult Jam with a nice bum.
What? So speaking of Toxic Reasons, let's hear the story of how JJ Pearson joined
Toxic Reasons. Wait, I still got a burp brewing. It might come out while I'm talking.
Do it.
But in summer of 1981, I'm a little boy in North Vancouver. Yes, Fess rules. Yes, he does. He's the greatest. A quick side note. We played together bunches of times when he was in Zero Boys and stuff, and Jot with Toxic Reasons. Tufty came up with the idea to have Vess, and we practiced at Radio. The first note of the first practice, it was like, holy shit, why didn't we do this 30 fucking years ago? He's great. And he's left-handed, so we get the cool Beatles.
Hell yeah.
Get the guitars.
The victory.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But he's great. And we're having a lot of fun with it. We actually practice at his house. He's got a nice little studio.
Hell yeah.
And so we practice there, and it's going really good.
You guys record your practices?
I think we recorded the first one. Because he had some guy coming in, twiddling all the mics and doing that stuff. So I think we recorded the first one. I don't know if we've been doing all of them. But we usually do Sundays. Oh, here comes. Oh, it's still. Oh, it's like Satan in there.
Like breakfast? Is that you?
But anyway, back in the summer of 1981, Toxic Reasons had shows booked with on the Vancouver and the West Coast, and they came out and they played with Dead Kennedys and DOA in Vancouver, and the singer and the drummer got in a fight at the end of the show, and the drummer quit, and so they're like, "Fuck, we're stuck in Vancouver with no money." No, nothing. And a couple of local, there's the local club there. This kind of at the time, our Mel, it was the Smiling Buddha, and little shithole club in the worst part of Vancouver. And
I heard the hood over there is pretty bad.
They've there's an area right there, Hastings and Maine, where the Smiling Buddha was, and it's right at the end of Gastown, and they kind of. That's where they let the junkies be, and they can go and they can shoot up and exchange needles and stuff. And
like it's
it's going to happen. Let's make it happen here, and we can control it and take care of them or whatever the fuck. So it's a pretty shitty area of town, and as far as shitty a Canadian town can get, I mean, it's not that.
That's the thing is like I was kind of joking when I said it. The hood's pretty bad up there because I have this I always imagine like I know a ton of Canadians, man. Backstory, real fast. Just a ton of Canadians moved here when the Domino's got bought out here in the city.
Yeah.
So every Domino's has 1, 2, 3 Canadians.
Oh, serious?
Yeah. So I know tons of Canadians, but I have this. I just always image every part of Canada is just the most friendliest, like kindness.
Now, I used to get, how come you Canadians are all so nice? And it's, well, because we got a country that's bigger than the United States, and we have about the same amount of people as California.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not all packed in together and hating each other yet.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Yeah, we had a debate on one of the podcasts because I said that there was less people in Canada than the city of New York. I was close. It's the state of New York.
Yeah, it's yeah. And when I first came to the States, I was blown away that some states have more than one city. Because in Canada, you get a province, you get a province and a city.
Yeah.
And then and a province and a city, and every province has like their one city,
right?
And then a couple of towns or whatever the fuck. But it's I was blown away, like Ohio, when the band was from Ohio, and the first time I went, I was like, holy shit, there's like Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus. I was like, holy fuck, how many cities do you fucking have here? And but yeah, back in Vancouver, they were they were staying at DOA's place, Gore Street, with Dave Gregg, who's worked at a Canadian fish canner. So he was just stunk like fucking fish
all the time.
And they're staying there, and the Smiling Buddha said, while you're here, you can play, and if you make a little bit of money. But they didn't have a drummer, so Ron Reyes, he used to sing for Black Flag. He was like the second singer of Black Flag. He drummed for him one night, and Zippy Pinhead drum for him one night. Zippy was in the Dills, and and then apparently Dimwit, who is Chuck Biscuit's brother, we were talking about him earlier, he was going to join them, and they were supposed to play a show at the Smiling Buddha, but then Toxic Reasons got invited to Seattle to go to a Dead Kennedy show, so they kind of fucked off and went to Seattle, and Dimwit got pissed off. He was very a professional. I was going to join you guys and blah blah blah, so fuck you. So they were stuck in Vancouver with no drummer, and I think it was Dave Gregg or Shithead from DOA said, we got a roadie that's a pretty good drummer, and so give him a call. So they called me, and I had just called in sick for work from the 7 Seas seafood restaurant, and I hung up the phone and it rang, and I thought, whoa, was it ringing because it's still 7 Seas? So I pick it up and hello, and I don't remember who it was, but someone called me and they said, hey, have you heard it was either Shithead or Dave Gregg, and they said, have you heard of Toxic Reasons? And I said, I think I saw the poster, yeah, whatever. And they go, they want you to work with them. Here, let me put one of the guys on. And Greg Stout, the bass player at the time of Toxic Reasons, calls me and he says, hey, yeah, these guys were telling us about you, and we'd like to come down the coast with us. We've got a bunch of shows, and help us out, and we'll bring you back and everything will be cool. And I said, cool, yeah. And they go, well, where are your drums? And I was like, well, shit, you want to use my fucking drums too? And they go, well, we want you to drum. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I went to their to Dave Gregg's house, the DOA, and Ron Reyes worked for a catering company, and I didn't know that or forgot that or whatever. And so I meet the guys, and there's a buffet line set up, and I thought, fuck, these guys set up for practice.
Hell yeah.
Fried chicken and macaroni and cheese and blah blah blah. So I start talking to eat some fried chicken, and they play me their War Hero single, their first single. Put on War Hero, and then we go play War Hero, and then we go listen to this B-side, Somebody Help Me, and I thought, fuck, that sounds cool as fuck. We play Somebody Help Me, and then they had a live tape from the show, the Dead Kennedy show, that DOA Dead Kennedy's Toxic Reasons at the Commodore Ballroom. They had a live tape from a ghetto blaster, and so we just plugged in songs and boom boom boom. And they said, yeah, sounds great. We're going to play the Smiling Buddha tomorrow night, and then we're going down to California. And I said, okay. And the plan was I was going to play down the West Coast with them. They were going to bring me back to Vancouver. Then they'd go to Dayton, Ohio, and figure out what the hell they were going to do. And my first show in the Smiling Buddha show went pretty good. The bass player wrote me a set list, and the name of the song would be about this big, and then the description of what I'm to do, the one with the roll and the singing and the 1, 2, 3 stop and the blah blah blah. So the whole time I'm playing, I'm just reading my set list to know what to do for the next song. Oh wait, no, here's the roll thing in the middle. And I did well, and it was like sweet. And then the first show in the States was at the Mabuhay Gardens in San Francisco with Dead Kennedys and Husker Du. And I mean, I roadied for shows that were kind of full, but I played in a couple of bands in Vancouver, and I was used to playing to 8 or 12 booing fans, and it was packed. And we did really good. And it was like, holy fuck, that was great.
Hell
and then what's the next show? Oh, we're going down to LA to play with some band called TSOL. Oh, no. Yeah. So no. Sorry. Wait, that was the third. The next night was Black Flag. And it was like when Henry just started playing with them. And it was insane. And I'm
is
like,
insane.
Yeah. And I'm like, holy fuck. Now, what are we going to do? Oh, we're going down to LA. We're playing with some band called TSOL. I hadn't heard of them. And we played at Orange County. And it was packed. And it was TSOL, Saccharin Trust, Channel 3, and us. And it was great. And then we were coming back to San Francisco. And I was telling, guys, I was like, holy fuck, this is fucking great. I'm having a blast. And I said, but the next band we're playing with is Flipper. And they said, oh my God, Flipper. They're bigger and better than all the bands that you've already played with. Like, holy fuck. So we play our set once again at the Mabuhay Gardens, and Flipper gets setting up. And I don't know if any of you have heard Flipper, but
fuck yeah, man. Yeah, we just had Flipper at Punk Rock Night pretty recently.
I mean, the one thing they're kind of off the beaten path.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I had no idea. I was waiting for this excellent rock and roll band, and the guitar player comes out, and he's got kind of weird shit on his legs, like almost like leg braces, and he's looking all weird, and he starts going, and I thought, God, that's kind of weird way to tune up. And that's what it was for like an hour and a half.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, well, okay. I wasn't at first, because I was expecting something different, but the guys in the band didn't even know my name. Toxic Reasons didn't really even know my name yet. And I hung out with the roadie Bob Kramer, the roadie. And I said, fuck, I want to stay with these guys. Can I stay? And he goes, well, see. So he went to Ed Pittman, the singer, and he says, hey, the kid wants to stay. Oh, and by the way, I was 16 at the time.
Damn.
I was 16 years old. And
dude, you know what I was doing when I was 16? It's not good. That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, but it was like, he said, the kid wants to stay. And he says, yeah. And I'd been called in Vancouver. I was Jimmy Joe. And I remember asking Shithead, like in Vancouver, there was Joey Shithead, Randy Rampage, Chuck Biscuits, Dimwit, Zippy Pinhead, Jerry Useless, Wimpy Boy Roy. They all these, had these cool punk writers. I said to Shithead one time, I was like, fuck, I want a fucking name. And he's like, fucking Jimmy Joe. So that was my punk rock name. But Ed didn't remember Jimmy Joe, and he said JJ Pearson, drummer. And so that's when they started calling me JJ. Because my brothers had called me Jay, but I'd never been called JJ. I was Jim or Jimmy Joe.
Does anybody ever call you Jimmy Joe?
Oh yeah, my family.
I'm not gonna lie, man. So like, I've known you for a while, but I'm just not this person.
Yeah.
But I was like having them on. I gotta do some homework, so I go to Wikipedia and I'm looking at the Toxic Reasons page, and it says Jimmy Joe Pearson. I'm like,
who the fuck is that?
I'm like, does he go by Jimmy Joe?
Yeah, I was always Jimmy Joe.
Oh man, now part of me wants every time I see you now, I'm gonna be like, Jimmy Joe, don't you know? What's up?
It was with my sister-in-law used to be one of the only people that called me Jimmy Joe, because I go, God, it makes me feel like home, like home. And there was one time I was kitchen manager at Union Jackson, Broad Ripple, and someone comes in the back and they're laughing. They're what? And they go, someone's on the phone with a really thick Canadian accent asking for someone named Jimmy Joe. And I was like, that's me. It's probably my mom. And it was my mom because is Jimmy Joe home? But yeah, no, I haven't been called Jimmy Joe in a long time.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
yeah,
I had no idea.
Jimmy
So,
Joe.
Do you have any? Oh man, you gotta tell us. Gotta tell some of these
stories?
crazy stories, man.
Oh God.
Do you mind if I mention something interesting about when we were having a conversation the other day? I don't know if you wanted that public or not.
No, go ahead.
So, in general, I like to ask our guests if there's preferred photo.
Yeah.
That you know they would prefer me use for promos and advertisement and whatnot. And while we are having a conversation, I feel like you should tell us. Fuck that.
He picked a picture. That picture is from there's some cigar bar, but near the Fashion Mall, whatever. And I'm smoking a cigar. It was after my mother-in-law's funeral.
Oh no!
So I'm wearing a suit, and we're at a cigar bar, and I'm smoking a cigar. But
well, you look dapper as fuck, man. I was like, this is dapper. A good photo.
Yeah. But so I sent him a photo that Danny, who he's probably gone now, but Danny had taken when we were recording at Hit City. It was the singer from the band that we used to always tour with in Germany, KGB, Hannes. He said, I still have more music I'd like to play, but I have no more band. And Tufty goes, well, fuck, come here. We'll play some music for you. You can sing to it and whatever. So he flies over and is hanging out with us. And it was us, Toxic Reasons, Cut Singer and Paul from Zero Boys and Danny. There's Danny. You're welcome. It was a rather flattering nude photo of me, but we're
I've seen that.
We're recording, and we're doing the background vocals in German, and so I write down the phonetically what the German answers to or whatever, and there was I think it was Pammy and oh fuck, what was her fucking name? Shelley DeFabis. They were going to sing background vocals with us, and it's downstairs. And I have the funny idea. I'm going to go down there and take off all my clothes. So I go running down, strip nude, got the headphones on, and I got the sheet with all the phonetic lyrics. And they come in and like, and I said, oh, it's when you sing background vocals, you got to do it naked so it doesn't fuck with the sound. You get just pure sound. So I'm trying to get the girls to take off all the clothes, and it was like it got funny for a minute, and they didn't strip naked, but we got into the recording that it got to the point where no one was paying attention that I was standing there naked and it was very professional. We're doing all this stuff, and Danny comes in and takes a picture, and that was
Danny actually took that photo. Right on.
And he's got the version without the heart.
Yeah.
But when the album came out, that was my picture on the album. It's like Tufty, this and then the naked one of JJ. So that was my but it was a warm room. If that it was flattering.
That was
great, fun.
Man. Hell yeah.
But I got a good story. I was just bouncing off my head. When we went to Europe, the 1984, we had moved to San Francisco in late 82. When the first album came out, late 82, and it's 1984, and there's still. I mean, we were touring states and Canada, and we're as far as punk rock bands in the time, we were doing good, but it was, it wasn't happening. We weren't making any money, and it was hard to own a van and do all this shit, and we had a plan. Like we were going to try to be like the Stray Cats and the Dead Kennedys. Everyone thought the Stray Cats were from England, but they started in the States, and they couldn't get arrested. So they went over to England, made it big. And then they came back to the States and everyone loved them. Dead Kennedys, they did okay in the States, but they went over to Europe and came out with Too Drunk to Fuck or whatever. And they got banned, and boom, they got huge there. And then they became insanely huge. in the States. And so our plan was, we had 2 English guys in the band, Rob Lujak, the guitar player, rhythm guitar player, and Tufty was English, and I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
And by this time, Ed, the singer, had quit. And so Bruce kind of took over lead. So the only one we had to kind of sneak into the country was Bruce. And we could go over there under the guys. We're gonna visit or whatever the fuck, and visit our families and whatnot. But the plan was, we left a back line and a van in New York, and then we flew over to stay with Tufty's family in Liverpool, and we bought a van and a back line there. And the plan was to live in England and just try to get our shit together. And we're staying at Tufty's sister's place for weeks, and she didn't kick us out, but it was sort of, we were kind of, sleeping on the carpet and staying in the floor. And Tufty's like, we got to get out of here. So we bought a 2-bedroom tent, and we lived in a tent. And Tufty goes, I know this pub in Liverpool where music business people hang out. Let's go hang out there. Maybe we'll meet someone, might strike up a conversation about what the fuck we're doing here. We're a band and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So we go hang out at this pub called Grapes in Liverpool. And we're hanging out there. And at the time, it was 90p for a pint. And I found out everyone's ordering a pint of lager. And this one guy told me about a thing called a brown and bitter. And I was like, what's that? And he goes, well, they pump up a half pint of bitter, and you get a bottle of brown ale, and you put it up. And it always worked out to more than a pint, because they didn't pour exactly a half pint of bitter, and you got the bottle. So I was like, 90p, I'm going to get this because I get a couple more sips of beer. So we're sitting there in this pub hanging out, waiting to meet some guy. And we meet a guy from Liverpool that has a record store called Probe Records.
Probe,
like butt probe. But,
anal
so
probe.
We saw a poster where Toxic Reasons played with the Dicks. Was that so? Like, I'll get to that one. But that was one of the first tours in the States. And MDC too. It was the Dicks, and I played with. It was when they were still called the Stains. They were the MDC Stains. But so anyway, we were in Liverpool, and we meet this guy, and he says, I know a thing that with the county council, if I come up with £1,000 to start a company, they will match that £1,000. He goes, I'm going to start a record label, and it's the summertime. He goes, no one puts out singles in the summertime, so we'll put out a single in the summertime, so there'll be no competition. And they had the independent record charts. It was kind of like the Nielsen ratings, where they only compiled it from certain record stores. He goes, I know the record stores where they compile the charts from. We're only going to sell the singles in those stores. So we put out the single. I think we sold 500 copies. I don't know, nothing much. And we made it to number 7 on the independent charts. So then we could get shows. We were suddenly a band that was on the independent charts. So then we played the 100 Club, and we were able to get shows. But this was the single. I don't know where the camera is.
Yeah,
right there. This was the single. God Bless America.
Hell yeah.
On Sky Saw Records. Oh, and the when we went to the Probe Records, the store, that to talk with the guy again, we were still working out the logistics of doing it. The guy behind the cash register. Toxic Reasons are here. Do you remember that song? You spin me right round, baby. It was that guy. He was the cashier at Probe Records.
Wow.
And do you remember Frankie Goes to Hollywood?
It rings a bell.
With 2 tribes go to war. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. There was a lead singer, and then a kind of side lead singer, mustachy guy, but he was hanging out with the guy from Dead or Alive, the you spin me right round guy. But
Jeanette coming in. Pete Burns.
Is it Pete Burns? Is that the side singer guy? Oh, Pete Burns is the You Spin Me Right Round guy. But yeah, he was the cashier of the record store that put out our single. And and we also recorded it at the Cargo Studios.
Hell yeah.
Because that's where GBH and Discharge and whatever. So we were trying to get a little bit of that English sound and get the recognition of where it was recorded. And it was songs that we already had out, we didn't write any new songs. It was just something to get out.
Absolutely.
And this is it. And I was gonna say, how about if the best question, if someone sends in a question, I'll give them this single from 1984.
There you go.
You can have this.
How about they come on the show?
There you go.
I put the link out there, guys. Buffy, Jordan.
If you come on, and I'll give you this single from 1984. It made it to the number 7 on the independent charts.
Hell yeah!
Oh, and it got us on BBC One. We did a. Have you ever heard of a John Peel session? It used to be he's dead now, but he was kind of like the lack of better the Casey Kasem of the BBC.
I got you.
He did it was called the John Peel Sessions, and it was a really cool thing. If you did a John Peel session, you went to BBC Studios, you recorded some songs, and I thought he hung out at the studio and talked with us, but he just at BBC One, he'd get the recordings and he would blah 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 say things in between the songs, and so we made a national fucking English radio. It was very cool, and we ended up getting a show. We met him at the 100 Club. We played at the 100 Club, and it was cool as fuck. Like everyone was there. GBH was all there. All the UK subs guys were there. English Dogs are all there. And it was like we suddenly started doing well, and because like bands knew that we were good. People didn't in England. England at the time was, we invented this shit. You guys suck. You're American. Go fuck off.
Okay.
And Crass. Friends of ours, Crucifix. Have you ever heard of the band Crucifix? The very spiky punk rock guys, and nice guys. They're friends of ours in San Francisco. They got in cahoots with Crass, and they started doing some good sales of records and whatnot in England. So we wrote them, hey, we're living in a fucking tent, eating beans on toast and starving here. Can you, any chance you could help us out? And they said, fuck off, Yanks, go back and take care of your shit. And so Bruce, who was the artist of the band, we wrote them another letter, and he says, do we need to give you money, sexual favors, or become vegetarian? And he drew a picture of one of us with our pants pulled down, a handful of carrots and a handful of cash. Fuck you too, crass motherfucker. But that
was Stucky that did that. Hell yeah.
He's the artist of the band. He usually designed all the album covers or did the artwork or he put the ideas together for this stuff. Oh god, yeah. When we did Kill by Remote Control, our first album without the lead singer, Sixth Internet, Rough Trade in the States put it out. And Alternative Tentacles in Europe put it out, and so we coming over to Europe, and we go meet. Jeanette Carey knows about the Peel sessions. Yeah, it was very cool. But we go to King's Cross, and Rough Trade and Alternative Tentacles are above it, and we go meet the record guy, and he says, "Okay, yeah, here's the cover." I don't know if anyone's seen the cover of the European Kill by Remote Control. It's every cliched punk rock thing you think. It's got like a Mussolini, Hitler, Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, missiles pointing, and a button in the middle, and that was the Kill by Remote Control. And we were like, "Oh my god!" We said, like, "Holy shit! No! You can't use that cover." And it's like, "Oh, it's too late. It's out." And we had no say. It was so I've had to, I've mentioned this in another interview, and someone answered back saying, "I fucking love that cover," but it was kind of goofy, and it was just every cliche punk rock thing at the time. But yeah, the Kill by Remote Control, Bruce designed it. It was like an MCI, the long distance company of 100 years ago. It was an MCI globe and a heat photograph of a forest fire, and then like sort of missile line, like dot lines from the MCI globe thing, and then a computer keyboard and a robot arm coming in to push it to Kill by Remote Control. And it was cool. Yeah. And Bruce was always the art guy. He did that shit. But yeah, doing the Sky Saw record thing, doing the fiddle on how we got into the number 7 on the independent charts, got us into the 100 Club. which got us to
Hey, Lindsay.
Lindsay Cooper. She's one of the most beautiful girls on the interwebs. Hey, Lindsay. But yeah, it got us where we met John Peel. Well, John Peel and Tufty is from Liverpool, and Liverpool Football Club there's Everton, Liverpool right next to each other, and Liverpool is very.
I didn't know they had football over there.
What's it's soccer? Yeah, sorry, so English.
Hold on. Oh, it's finally happened an hour in.
But it was well known that John Peel was a Liverpool fan, and so Tufty and him start talking football, and they're going on and on and on and on. And then he says, "Well, you know, hey, it was nice to meet you. Thanks for coming to the show." Blah blah blah, and gets up to walk away. And John Peel's like, "Aren't you going to ask to be in a Peel session?" And we're like, "Oh, fuck, we didn't know we're allowed to ask you that, sir." And he says, "Oh, here," and he gives us a card. "Here's an address. Go there on this day at this time." And it was BBC One fucking studios.
Yeah.
And there was a boy group, like kind of R&B something.
Is that
recording there?
Do you know? Is there access to that, to those recordings?
There's on the if you
I have this fascination with BBC like sessions and stuff. So
there's someone asked us if they could a couple years back, and I got on an interwebs talk with this on the Toxic Reasons page or whatever, and someone answered it. If you go to the Toxic Reasons page, there's and look old stuff. There's a chat about it, and there's a link there on YouTube. There's the single that they released from the John Peel session, and I think it still has the John Peel talking in between the songs. Toxic Reasons, blah blah blah.
Check that out.
But it's really cool, and it definitely helped us in England, because England was terrible. It was there was one show in England. We were lucky to get paid, and to get free beer was almost never. And so there was one show we played, and they got free beer. We got free beer, and Bruce partook of the Guinness quite a bit, and he starts getting kind of shit faced. And it was the 4th of July, and so we start kicking into the song "God Bless America," and is now. Bruce said, "This is the day now that we kicked y'all's ass. Now." Beer bottles flying, fingers. We're playing away.
That's fucking amazing, man.
Bruce got shit faced and slagged off a bunch of Brits that the beer bottles were flying. And then that night in the tent, on the way there, we had Kentucky Fried Chicken in England. In England, we had Kentucky Fried Chicken. Bruce with a full gullet of Guinness, and Rob and I had one bedroom, and Tufty and Bruce had the other bedroom. And the next morning, get up, and get out, and Tufty and Bruce's tent, little inside tent for the bedroom, is not there. And I look out there, and Tufty's got all his clothes laid out. Bruce had just projectile vomited Guinness, and Danny put a link.
Nice, thanks, Danny.
Bruce projectile vomited English Kentucky Fried Chicken and Guinness beer over Tufty and all this, and in his Chinese shoes. If you remember those little Chinese shoes, Tufty always wore the damn Chinese shoes. I think he filled up his Chinese shoes with Guinness and regurgitated Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's fucking great.
Delicious. But yeah, this is the day we kicked y'all's ass.
That's fucking great, man. Man, I would love to be a fly on the wall for a lot of this, you know?
Yeah, it was good times. And then England, England was a little bit tough, because, they definitely had we invented this punk rock shit. You Americans need to go home and shut the fuck up or whatever. So we didn't get much respect there, but we met a couple of guys in Leeds, Ginger John and Nick Toxic. And Nick Toxic and Ginger John were of I don't know if you've heard of them here. It was big in Europe for a while. They're called Ranting Poets. It's, they did like all sorts of very political, usually left-wing politics, but in rhythmic, almost rappy, like poems, and Ginger John and Nick Toxic were kind of the two bigger ones, and they put on a bunch of shows at the place in Bradford and Leeds. This one place called Adam and Eve's, and we somehow hooked up with them, and they fucking let us live at their house, and they put us. They said, "Hey," right at the time there was the miners' strike was going on. Margaret Thatcher was the prime minister, and there was a big miners' strike going on all over England. And coal was a huge thing at the time, and they said, "Hey, look, if you play these miners' strike benefits, you get food, a place to stay, and some beer."
Hell yeah!
And a place. And I mean, the shows we were playing, we were barely making enough to pay for the gas, so it was it behooved us to go ahead and so they hooked us up with this whole tour of playing miners' benefits, and so it got us around. We met a band from Birkenhead, the Iconoclast, all girl band, and we got to be famous pals, and we played all these little you could rent kind of like VFW hall things, and we played some pubs and whatnot, but we played wherever we could, and the shows were and but we were getting around and playing. We we started meeting some people and whatnot and finding other stuff, and the idea of living in England was rapidly not sounding cool to me, and I was like, and now we're going to go to the continent. I was like, fuck, I'm kind of, I just want to go back to the States, lick my wounds, and try to figure it out.
The continent, is that a reference to Europe?
Yeah.
Okay.
And first show is in Amsterdam, and we go to the club and walk in, and I go. First thing I do is go up to the bar. I need to find out what's going on. And I said, "So what's your basically your policy for drinks for the band?" And they said, "Oh, you each get," and they pull out these 12 drink tickets. You get 12 12 fucking drinks, right on. And I said, well, what's good? And I'm, not at the time, not very worldly. And I'm in Amsterdam, and they look at me like I'm crazy, and they go, Pilsner beer. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay. Let me try one of them. And they grab this, those little bitty Coke glasses that kind of, but they grab one of those and wham, hit it. But this much foam, but that much beer. And oh, that's good. Let me have one of those. And that was one. I'm like, fuck. So I get 12 sips of fucking lukewarm, foamy beer.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, hey, don't worry. The night goes on. If it's good, you have whatever you want. And the fucking show is packed. And they're all going crazy. But the thing was, none of them knew who the fuck we were. We were from America.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, that's really all you needed to be on there was from America. And we were good, we were good at what we did.
Yeah.
So we were from America, and we rocked. We all sang and jumped all over the place. Tufty's fucking one of the best bass players you've ever heard in your life. Bruce is insane. I'm not too bad on the old drummies.
Oh, not too bad.
And Rob was not very hard to look at. He was a very handsome man. And he was a great singer, songwriter. And so we did okay. And then Germany was the same thing. Was, you're from the States, and we were kind of good at it. And Germany and on the continent, and Germany, Europe, Switzerland, Italy, the first one of the shows we first played in Germany, AJZ, Alternative Youth Centrum. And it was usually like it was a place, there was Jugendzentrums that was organized by the city for youth to go to and whatever. And then there was AJZ, Alternative Youth Centers. A lot of times they would squat a building and then fight the city. They said, oh, we fought the city. And I said, oh, what, in court? And they'd say, no. And they'd show me pictures of them throwing Molotov cocktails at cops and shit. I'm like, holy fuck. And we won the right to keep the squat. And now AJZ and the city subsidizes them to put on shows. Holy fuck. That would never happen in the States. No. I mean, they would show me pictures of them, with buses pushed over and they're lighting them on fire. And, yeah, we fought to keep the place. I'm like, holy
fuck. You have the best German.
Yeah. But these guys, the balls are fucking this big. So we play AJZ, and I remember this one guy, the only thing he knew how to say in English was Youth Brigade! Youth Brigade! And we're talking to yeah, talking to Youth Brigade! And but the shows were great. And then you'd watch people, and they'd be moving their lips like they knew the words to the songs, and I was like, wait a second, we just recorded this. There's no way. They were just trying to. I've known these guys since way back. I know all the words to the song, and but it was they would go crazy, and like I said, we were kind of good, so we'd win them over. After a couple of years of that, like every fucking American band was going over there, and some of them kind of sucked, and so it got to the point where you had to be good and from the States, and we at that point, it was like, fuck, let's just, tour in Europe. And because the States, it was, some shows were good, but, you'd play a good show and then drive 20 hours, 18, 17 hours to the next fucking show. You drive 17, 18 hours in Europe, you're in freaking Istanbul, whatever the fuck. So, it was so much more logistically smart to just tour Europe. So and like my German, my papagei, they called me a papagei in Germany. I was a parrot. I could imitate the German perfectly or whatever. But this guy says, "Was machst du in America? What do you make? What do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a waiter." Waiter im Deutsch. And I put a towel over my arm and I said, "Would you like more French fries with that?" And he says, no, you're too famous. I don't believe you. And so in Germany, they thought I was too famous to work.
Really?
So I didn't want to crush the guy's dreams. Yeah, you're right. I live in my little villa, and I just live off the royalties from our shows in Germany. But
how long did you actually live in England? I was
just months. I mean, it turned into just when we met Nick Toksek and Ginger John, we actually started playing shows. We started touring around, so we didn't have to really stay anywhere. And so we that's when I don't remember. Tufty was pretty fucking smart in how he got things going for us. And to be honest with you, I was the 19-year-old kid in the back of the van that just liked to party and get fucked up. And
you were the energy.
Yeah. And he took care of all the business. So a lot of it, I can't really speak to because I don't know how it happened. It just, I woke up and we're in Bielefeld or wherever the fuck.
Hell yeah.
And, but he made it so we could tour in the States, Canada, and Europe. And we had a van and a backline in the States and a van and a backline in Europe. Oh, our first van in Europe was a Ford Transit van. And it had the motor on it. I mean, it was like that big, this little itty bitty 4-banger. And we're driving through the fucking Alps with, 4 guys and all the equipment. We threw a rod on our first van. So the troubles of our vans followed us wherever we went. But we made it around, and we used to, the tours were pretty sparsely booked, but by the end of it, we used to go for like 4 or 5 weeks, and we'd play every day but Monday, and we'd make a little bit of change and then go back home and go work in a restaurant or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And then, time to go back on tour. We'll play Chicago, Cincinnati, fuck off, go to Europe. And it wasn't like we were dissing the States. The States were kind of dissing us. It was, we couldn't really play enough to, we weren't the Circle Jerks or DOA or
what year was this?
85, 86 to 88, I mean, 86, 87. We did because Terry Hollywood from, I'd love to hear about J.G. Pearson's band before talks. No, it's hey, Kelsey. Bludgeon Pigs. Okay, now a quick side story. Now the Bludgeon Pigs, there was and I was corrected recently in Vancouver, in the punk scene. Everybody was in a band, and there was DOA and DOA and Subhumans were the 2 big bands, and so they would always be the headlining bands, and then everyone else was in the bands that figured we're in the same league. We would be the openers for DOA or Subhumans, and it was hard to get anybody to get into any of the other bands because I'm in a fucking band. We've been around 2 months longer than those fuckers. I'm not going to dance to them. Blah blah blah. So there a thing started going. It was called fuck bands, And one of the first shows I played in at the Smiling Buddha with No Exit was opening for a band called Sergeant Nick Penis and his Brass Ball Battalion.
Sergeant Nick Penis
and his Brass Ball Battalion.
Right.
And now Zippy Pinhead, he was a kind of a local celebrity because he left and went to the States and joined a band called the Dills. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Dills, but you ever heard of Rank and File?
I have not.
But the Dills were the Chip and Tony Kinman, and they were one of the first kind of big punk bands, the Avengers, the Dills, and he went down and moved to San Francisco and was in the Dills for a while, and then he came back to the States or to Canada, and Randy Rampage, the bass player from DOA, played guitar, and Chuck Biscuits, the drummer for DOA, he played the other guitar. I can't remember who played bass, but that was Sergeant Nick Penis and his Brass Ball Battalion. They were one of the bigger fuck bands. So they would get a good crowd, and No Exit, we opened for them. And a buddy of mine I met at a party in North Van, at this guy Pat Kleeb's house. My brother was dating this girl Daphne. My other brother always called her Spatula. But we went to this party, and Pat Kleeb was his band, and I met Tony Baloney, and I did not know Tony was in a band called Bludgeon Pigs, and they were kind of, I found out, and I thought they were like a fuck band. There was Ron Reyes, who used to sing for Black Flag. He drummed for Bludgeon Pigs for a minute, and there was Tony Baloney was the bass player, and the guitar player was called Porkface, and the singer was Al Alcohol. He was a raging alcoholic, but a great front man. And one day, Tony asked me, he said, "Hey, do you want to play for Bludgeon Pigs?" And I was like, "Oh, I've made it." I mean, because they were one of the bigger fuck bands.
Hell yeah.
And so I started playing with Bludgeon Pigs.
How old were you at this time?
It was like 15.
Damn.
And
it's crazy, JJ.
And well, No Exit, the real band that I was in, they were the first Canadian punk band to put out an album. Dave Gregg helped them from DOA. Dave Gregg was the greatest guy in the whole wide world. Rest in peace. But No Exit had put out an album. It was called the No Exit album. And on one side, it was a studio side where they recorded on a 4-track cassette studio. And then the live side, it was a same thing, just a ghetto blaster recorded of a show at the Smiling Buddha. And on the album cover, the Clash first album where it's the three of them standing there in a brick wall. Well, they cut out their faces and stuck their faces where it said the Clash. They put No Exit. And then on the flip side, I can't remember if it was the studio side or the live side, the Damned album cover where they got pie all over their face.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't enough of them, so they got VJ, this guy, to pose with them, and they covered themselves in pie and posed just like it, and it was called the No Exit album. And I think copies of it are going for like $1,000 I think they made 200 or whatever, but it was the first punk rock album out of Canada. And their drummer quit, and I joined them right after it, and they were getting ready to record on a compilation album. Kind of a funny coincidence. It was called Vancouver Independence, and Toxic Reason's first album was called Independence. I didn't put that 2 and 2 together until years and years and years later. It's like, oh, holy shit! The first record I was on was Independence, and the first album I was on is Independence.
Hell yeah!
But No Exit, or I learned my chops. And I wonder if we could sneak this in there. When I was in No Exit, we went down to Seattle, and we played with a band called the Hep Dads and the Farts. And there was a guy in the band called Duff McKagan, and he was a drummer. And he was in the Hep Dads, and he was also in a band called the Fastbacks, and he was a drummer. And we got to be buddies and whatever. And years later, the Fastbacks were up in Seattle, and Duff wasn't in them. I was like, what the fuck? What happened to Duff? No, fuck, he went down to LA. Not many years later, bam, he's fucking Guns N' Roses, billionaire motherfucker. But one of the nicest guys in the whole wide world. It was one of those things. When I found out it was him in that band, I was like, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And there used to be a store here in Indianapolis called Indiana Music at 54th and Keystone, where there used to be a Target. Now it's like a little strip mall. But in there was a place called Indiana Music, and right when you walk in, it was kind of a shotgun shaped store that you walked in. It was just a long hallway, but there was right in the front, there was a huge life-size poster of Duff McKagan uses Diodero strings, and he had a Toxic Reasons shirt on.
Hell yeah.
I know he was giving a nod to his old buddy from Vancouver.
That's dope.
But the side story, there was Chuck Biscuits, who I roadied for as a kid, was the drummer of DOA, and then he went to Black Flag, then Circle Jerks, then Danzig, and then Social Distortion. Somewhere in there, he played for Red Hot Chili Peppers for a minute. But there was some years back, there was an online hoax that he had died, and I called up to Shithead and said, "Is Chuck really dead?" And he said, "I'm talking to his brother right now, Bob Montgomery, and I'm going to find out." And he calls me back. He says, "No, he's alive and well, but he's doesn't want to talk to anybody, and he's in Bellingham, Washington, or wherever the fuck." Turns out later he's a I don't know if he still is, but he was the manager of a food court in a like a Sam's Club or a Costco. But and he's like the fucking, if anybody knows out there, he's the greatest punk rock and roll drummer there ever was. But it inspired me to, I felt bad that he was no longer in the music business. He got kind of fucked over by Glenn Danzig. In Danzig was basically taking the lion's share of everything. And then apparently Shithead was telling me that Danzig wanted the guys to sign over even more of their rights to any of the stuff and whatever. And Chuck said, "Fuck that, I'm out." And he went on to Social Distortion. And
is that a punk band from
from Southern California?
Okay.
And Social D, and Chuck was playing with them. And Social D, we played with them a million bajillion times back in the old days, and we were in the same league. They whatever, but they came out with an album. Well, they were from LA, so even just being from LA, there's so many more thousands of kids that buy the records. We were in San Francisco, they were LA.
Yeah,
we would put out a record, we would sell, and they'd put out a record and sell 40,000, or whatever the fuck. So they started climbing up the thing a little quicker, and but I mean, they were goofy fans of Chuck Biscuits, and he's a big gun drummer, and they got him to play with them, and I'm sure he was just a
yeah.
Danny. Yeah. Yes, he's like,
I'm a puppy.
He's like Social Distortion, or with their like I
was fucking around.
No, you're cool.
Yeah. I was
I'm pumping for info.
Yeah,
but it
just the one horn. But he actually did mention. He said we met Sloppy with Toxic in 1986 when you guys went on your first. We they took him in tow, and we played Cabaret Metro. We played the Outhouse in Lincoln, Nebraska. It was you were literally in the middle of a cornfield. It's like, where the fuck are we playing? And there's this little shed sitting there, and it's like down the end of this huge dirt fucking road to nowhere. And we drive up and we get to it, and it's kind of graffiti, and I think we're at the right place. Some punks start coming out, and anyway, it was some of the best fucking shows ever. Yeah.
And they went on years later. They did a documentary of the Outhouse, and they came and interviewed us asked some questions for the documentary thing. And then when they were gonna put out do the premiere of the thing, they called us up and said, "Hey, will you play at the premiere?" I was like, "Holy fuck, yeah!" So we went out and played in Lincoln, Nebraska, again for the release of it. Check it out. It's called the Outhouse, and I mean, everybody played there. It was in the middle of fucking nowhere. It was back in the old days when you could rent out a place and you didn't have to get insurance. You could set up a beer stand. And
they still do that.
They still do that. Yeah.
Yeah, illegally.
Yeah.
I was
But it was so much easier to do crazy shit like that, you know.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we played with Sloppies out there and DOA. I think was DOA there as well that time, or I don't remember. But yeah, we were good buds with the boys. I actually I ended up buying Chuck Biscuit's drums when he was leaving Black Flag. And these drums are bad motherfuckers. I roadied for him. I loved them. And he was like, I don't need them anymore. And 26-inch kick, 20-inch floor tom. I mean, most kick drums are 20 inches, but I had a 20-inch floor tom and a real fucking deep snare.
Hell yeah.
And
boom,
they were
Fuck
boom,
yeah.
boom. They were bangers. And a lot of times on tour, the 20-inch floor tom sometimes was more of a hindrance because we'd be in like fucking buttfuck Nebraska, go to a music shop and say, "Oh, I need a 20-inch floor tom," and there's no such thing. And I go, "Yeah, there's." And they'll go, "No, here," no, that's a kick drum head. They go, "That's all you know." And kick drum heads, you know, the rim on it's about that. You can't get it on there. So it was really tough to get heads for a 20-inch floor tom. But man, they boomed. They were big ass boomers.
Yeah, man.
But I had them for years, and they started getting kind of beat. They were like the wood tone Slingerlands, and they were starting to look kind of beat. So I spray painted them black and kept them for a couple more years, and then sold them to Sloppy Seconds. So yeah, they were Chuck Biscuit's drums and my drums, and then Sloppy Seconds drums.
Man, that's dope. Yeah. And where are they now?
I don't know. Someone was asking me about that. There was a girl had a Chuck Biscuit's. It was called Chuck Biscuit's Museum or something like that, and it just stories about Chuck. And I got a ton. You know, I said, and she thought it was great. You know, and people get on the thing and say, "Where are they now?" And I said, have to ask the Sloppy Seconds guy. I don't know where they went. If he had, I would love to buy them back and have them, but because he's if you get a chance, Google Sloppy open for Danzig, and Chuck was like, I had to.
That's the thing is, as you're telling this story, I'm like, I swear, I just had a conversation with Danny about this. Yeah.
Holy shit! He did. Holy fuck! That's hilarious. Yeah, because he wouldn't recognize them. They were painted black, but yeah, those were Chuck's drums. He Rough Trade actually bought them for me. They were putting out our album, and Rough Trade bought them, and holy fuck, they were the greatest fucking drums. But yeah, but Chuck, you know, he poor fucker, he's a bit of a dick, but he was so amazingly talented. And he, a lot of the early DOA songs he wrote and plays guitar. And I mean, he could do it all. And when he got to Social D, like I was saying, they were at some point they were kind of in the same league as us, and they started doing really well after their Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell album. And then they did a tour with like Neil Young, and they got kind of huge. And they were looking for big guns, and they got Chuck in the band. And I think Chuck thought it was going to be more like the DOA days, so he could write some tunes and play guitar on the albums and blah blah blah. And I don't think Mike Ness was going to let that happen. And so he was fairly disillusioned with the music business, and he said, "Fuck it, I'm out." And you can't get him to answer anything, and his wife kind of keeps all the correspondence away from him and stuff, and you never know what happened to that guy. But truly, one of the greatest drummers in the whole fucking wide world.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, but that's hilarious. I had drums just like these.
So we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. We're gonna give a shout out to our sponsors. Let's bring it up here. Eventually, we'll get a video for these guys. Construction company.
Oh wow.
You need some shit done? Hit up Poly Punk. Thanks to you guys for sponsoring us. And here is a video from our sponsors at Punk Rock Night.
Looking for something to do Saturday night? Do you like punk rock? Well, look no further. Every Saturday night is Punk Rock Night at the Melody Inn. The best local, regional, and touring acts hit the stage every Saturday for an amazing time. Check punkrocknight.com for details, or follow us on all the social medias to get weekly updates on what's going on. Doors are 8 p.m., shows start at 9 p.m. It's a bar, folks, so you have to be at least 21 to join in on the fun. And hey, there's free parking! Plus, every Thursday we present the Pearson Live Feed Show, where we talk about last week's show, preview this week's show, and announce all the big things we have coming up. Punk Rock Night, a proud sponsor of Chopped Liver.
Like, oh man, I need to I gotta do some extra exercise just to get my lungs right. We're talking about smoking.
I started getting apparently I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and my mom said that all my other brothers and sisters had asthma as infants and then grew out of it, and I was like the only baby that she didn't smoke for, and I grew into asthma, and by the end of my smoking career, it was fucking.
How long ago did you quit?
I'm trying to think. Probably 30 years ago. Yeah.
Damn. Well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I had quit 100 times, and one time I quit for a year, and I thought, fuck, I can smoke whenever I want. If I can quit for a year, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I was managing an O'Charlie's, and it was some shitty night, and one of the cooks, a black guy, was smoking Newports. I said, give me one of them fucking minty cigarettes. So when I started, hey Drew,
what up, brother?
I started smoking fucking menthol cigarettes, and I got addicted to them. And then I found out you get addicted to the menthol and it's a double whammy schmammy.
Yeah.
And then my mother-in-law got lung cancer, and she lost like half of her right lung, and it's just like that one Cheech and Chong. It said, ever since I lost one of my lungs, I cut my smoking in half. We all quit smoking, and I was the only one that stayed quit. She started smoking again.
I was gonna change that angle a little bit.
Oh, but
everybody got a good shot in my gut.
But I stayed quit. I hated that I smoked. And I remember I was driving to work, and I was looking out the window, and there was a guy next to me in a car smoking, and I was like, fuck, that's got to be the dumbest thing, breathing in and out smoke. I hate that I smoke. And so I got a rubber band, and I twacked myself every time I wanted to smoke, and I quit.
That is a good idea. I think when I'm ready, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I actually got to where my rubber band broke, and I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? I need my rubber band. And there was one time when I was drinking at Plum Slash Shot, and there were cigarettes in front of me, and I reached for them, and I was like, oh wait, those aren't mine. I don't smoke. And it was like, I realized I don't want to smoke. I just forgot that I didn't smoke.
The physical
end. Yeah. And I was like, I don't smoke anymore. And it has to be your time.
Exactly. That's why I'm not fighting it. Like, because I've tried.
My wife has done Chantix and all the fucking. I'd
love to hear her stories about doing that.
Yeah, I did Chantix one time, and I'm a CPAP guy. I'm a sleep apnea guy. But before I had my CPAP machine, because I don't know if you know anything about sleep apnea.
Mine's sitting over there.
You go in and out of you wake up constantly, so you're going in and out of sleep, and that's usually when most of your REM shit starts happening. Yeah. So I would have wicked lucid dreams all the time.
This is just from the CPAP, or is this
before the CPAP?
This is Chantix, or?
No, this is just apnea.
Okay.
And so then when I someone said, "Oh, this Chantix shit to quit smoking, it makes you have really fucking whacked out dreams."
Yeah, it does.
And I was like, "Holy fuck, I already have crazy whacked out dreams." So I was afraid, and I truly can't remember what I dreamt about, but I woke up and both nostrils were bleeding. Oh, and I was like, "Oh, I'm never taking that shit again."
Yeah, man.
So I don't know what if it was.
They took it off the market.
Yeah.
It caused cancer. Yeah.
Oh, serious? Oh. Yeah.
But if anybody wants to have some real fucked up dreams, I got that hookup. I got tons of Chantix. Tons. Pop 3 of those, man. You'll be fucking tripping balls in your dreams. Fucking.
What was that movie where those guys ate those ludes that were about 15 years old? That with Leo DiCaprio, and they do a bunch of ludes and they don't think they're getting off, so they do another one, and they do, but because they were like really old. I wonder if like your Chantix, they're not doing anything. Take another handful.
Dude, yeah, that shit was fucking crazy. Like the craziest one. Oh man, I don't even want to say this because it's so fucked up, but it's
too late. You gotta say it now.
So I had this dream that the person I was dreaming. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wake up and basically I have stabbed my girlfriend at the time.
Oh, in real life or the dream?
In the dream, I stabbed her.
Oh, Jesus,
to death.
Yeah.
And there's blood everywhere, and there's blood all over me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be real. This can't be real. And I'm like freaking the fuck out. And then boom,
wake up.
I wake up, and I'm like, holy fucking shit. There's no way that was like, I can't believe that I just dreamt that.
Holy shit.
And I look over and there's blood everywhere. And my fucking girlfriend has been stabbed to death. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, it's real.
Oh no.
And then I fucking woke up.
Holy fuck.
I literally woke up. One, two, three. Wait, I woke up to it. And then I woke up to it, and then I actually woke up. So 3 fucking times. And this is why I said, I'm afraid to say it, because it seemed so fucking real. And I mean, there were some really cool ones. My buddy Bronson and I joined up with the FBI, and we went on this fucking like suicide mission to stop these terrorists in California. And we like took a fucking plane and shit. It was really, and it seems so fucking real.
Holy
but
shit.
Yeah, man, Chantix is the real fucking deal. You want to trip balls in your sleep, pop some of that shit.
Wow.
But
no. I dreaming is one of my favoriteest things to do. So my two of my favoriteest things to do is dreaming and eating. So if you ever hear about me being on life support and whatever, I think I'm good. They're shoving food down my gullet. I'm in dream state. I'm good. Leave it. Don't unplug me.
Dude, yeah. Have you ever I don't know if you're down with this conversation. Have you ever done LSD?
Oh God, yeah, Jesus, yeah, no, I did. Yeah.
You got any good ones?
It's not very trippy, but we were in Kansas City, and we just released "Killed by Remote Control," and someone gave us a bunch of acid. And Bruce, Rob. I don't think Tufty was. I don't remember if Tufty did, but we were tripping balls on just some blotter acid, and we listened to "Killed by Remote Control" on 45, and we were just peeing ourselves laughing because you could imagine the cartoon characters of. I don't know if you know any of the songs, but your loved ones tell you to get a job. Piss off. I'm not a lazy sod. But that on 45, like cartoon voice of Tufty with the big blah, 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 blah. It was pretty funny.
Hell yeah.
And San Francisco, we were I didn't do any of it, but LSD 25. They put a couple of drops in their water, and I was like, I was 16. I'm like, I'm good. And but all the guys, Rob, Bruce, and Ed, and Tufty wasn't in the band yet, but they all did this LSD 25, and they said that they saw the streets breathing and
fuck yeah, hell yeah,
veins in the streets of San Francisco and breathing, and and we played with Black Flag, and the Black Flag thought we were fucking crazy, and we were outside, and right then the trash truck came to take the dumpster from on Broadway was the club upstairs, and the Mabuhay Gardens was the club downstairs, and it was a dumpster just full of bottles, and the guys were just like, yeah, cheering as it's dumping into the dump truck.
Hell yeah.
And then we stayed at Ruth Schwartz's place. She I don't know if you ever heard of it. She started. It was called More Damn Records. Ruth Schwartz was a DJ on KUSF San Francisco. It was a University of San Francisco radio station, and there was a radio station in Berkeley called KPFA. And KPFA, do you ever remember Maximum Rock and Roll, the magazine?
Yep.
It was done from a show called Maximum Rock and Roll at KPFA, and Ruth Schwartz was in on that. Tim Yohannan, and we got to. It was San Francisco was very, very good to us. Toxic Reason's first single, the only record, well, there's of 2 records that I'm not on the band, was the first single, War Hero. Back with Somebody Help Me. That there's a thing called the Bay Area Heavy Play Charts. All the radio station compiled a heavy play chart, and we got best song for 1981, which is War Hero. And then our second single, which was my first single that I recorded with them, was Ghost Town with Killer and Noise Boys, got best song for 1982. So I was a 16-year-old kid doing pretty good in bands in San Francisco. It was, I
was trying to get laid, bro.
Yeah.
I was trying to get laid,
and it was
get some money to buy a guitar.
And it was it was some crazy days. There was I was a cute little boy,
youngin' back there swinging them drumsticks.
And we did pretty good in those days in San Francisco, and that's where it was like, let's get on the road and do this all over the world.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah. That's like for a lot of people, man, you lived the American dream or Canadian dream.
We DOA was very instrumental in me. It was the first punk rock show I went to, and I was like, I want to do that.
Fuck yeah.
And the same thing happened to the other guys in Toxic Reasons in Dayton, Ohio. DOA came on tour, and they were like, holy fuck, the next time you motherfuckers are in town, we're going to have a band and we're going to open for you. And they did. And they got to be famous friends. And DOA said, hey, come on out to Vancouver and play with us and Dead Kennedys. And then they got the other shows booked down. But we just wanted to be like DOA. DOA was one of the hardest working bands in show business. They toured fucking everywhere, all over the place. Now, Dead Kennedys, who were really, 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 really good to a lot of bands.
Okay.
But they didn't tour as hard as DOA. They didn't have to. They did well in Europe, and then they came to the States, and they were about as big as you could get. I mean, even I'd say they were bigger than the Ramones. And at that time, Ramones were like the big guys. And DOA played every one horse town, and Dead Kennedys would play the biggies.
Yeah.
And we got to play with Dead Kennedys. I can't even remember how many times, but we would do the DOA tour. Like we're playing in Milwaukee with Dead Kennedys, and then we're playing with them again in New York or whatever. So we would play every one horse town in between there and there. And, we'd make all our money at the Dead Kennedy shows, but we would, a lot of the places we'd play, we would be the first national touring band that would come there. They had their Stinky and the Fucks or whatever the fuck playing. And then, some band from out of town. And when you play like that, even if your songs aren't that good, you get kind of tight.
Oh yeah.
And you get good at it, and you get to where the guys are jumping around and you get all sweaty and you're pros. And so a lot of these towns like Omaha, Nebraska, we were big in Omaha. We were big in Kenosha and crazy small towns that you wouldn't think anything would be going. Like TSOL, we played together a bunch. And then there was this one jaunt where when they didn't have Jack, the singer of TSOL, they kind of went kind of rock and rolly MTV-ish. And they followed, I mean, they weren't following us, but the circuit that you play, they played a lot of the places right after us or within a week or so of us playing. And then we met up in New York and played a show together. And they said, holy fuck, do you guys like fucking issue Toxic Reason shirts to the kids at the shows? Because he goes, every fucking town we play, there'd be the sea of Toxic Reasons fucking shirts.
Hell yeah.
And, but it was just, we were the approachable band that was, one of the first national touring bands that would play in these fucking towns. So we kind of won the kids over.
Yeah. And you're waving 3 flags.
Yeah. Man. And that Ed Pittman, the first singer, came up with that. It's like, holy fuck, We got Rob. Rob was the first English guy in the band. And Brookwood Hall. Yeah. Brookwood Hall. Yeah, we in the Jockey Club. There's one at the Jockey Club I don't want to tell. It's about fucking in the parking lot. But
I think you just did. I think it's out there.
But Brookwood Hall.
Just in breaking news: JJ Pearson fucked
in the parking lot.
In the parking lot
of the Jockey Club. And,
where is the Jockey Club?
It was Newport, Kentucky, Cincinnati, just across the bridge. That was for there was I can't remember at the time. There wasn't really anywhere to play in Cincinnati. You had to play. If you played Cincinnati, you played the Jockey Club.
Okay.
And everybody played Johnny Thunders, the Ramones, Dead Kennedys, whatever.
Show my age, bro. Show my age.
But it was great. There was this Shorty. Kelsey is the guy named Shorty. Was this little guy, old guy. His pants would be pulled up to here. And he was check the IDs at the door. And if you had like when you buy a wallet and it comes with a thing that you could write in your name and age and whatever, if you showed that as your ID, you were good. And nice. the big thing there, the popular drink at the Jockey Club was the Foster's oil can. You know, those big fucking huge cans.
Oh yeah.
You go to the
Chaos special.
Go to the Jockey Club and drink a fucking Foster's can of oil. And but Brookwood Hall in Dayton, Ohio, that was the kind of like the outhouse in the middle of fucking nowhere off the highway in the middle of a cornfield. Back in the days when you could rent out a hall, and there was a guy who had the record store in Dayton, Ohio, the second time around, 1133 Brown Street. It was the Toxic Reasons World headquarters.
Right on.
But he would put up money and buy a shit ton of beer. And so he'd have the beer concession, and then they'd rent out the hall, and we played there with DOA, the Delinquents, us. Fuck, I can't remember who else, but it was crazy. It was, Toxic Reasons were Dayton's DOA, So I hopped into a band that was, they, in their hometown they packed out the places, so it was kind of cool. But yeah, I was. There was the DOA Hardcore 81, the album on the inner picture. What the fuck do you call it? The thing in the center of the record.
Oh,
not the inner sleeve, but the inner the label. But there's on one side it's got the songs, and on the flip side it's got a picture of a show, and there's me. A stage diving backwards, and there was a picture of me, and there was some pictures of Toxic Reasons with Ron Reyes from Black Flag. I keep mentioning him, and he's a Hispanic guy. He's from Puerto Rico, I think, and he this one fanzine in Dayton, Ohio said, they got a 17-year-old Mexican drumming. And then I was like, no, you got a 16-year-old Canadian, other border. But I remember when I first time I played Brookwood Hall, they thought I was going to be a Mexican kid, and they were like, who the fuck's that little guy? But yeah, Brookwood Hall, that was great. Packed, crazy little square block building in the middle of fucking nowhere. But I think we did like 3 shows at Brookwood Hall. We did one with DOA and then a couple on our own. But usually with the Delinquents. They were the other Dayton band.
Apparently, I'm making Spencer want a fucking cigarette. I actually ran into Spencer at a Guitar Center the other day. I swear to God, Spencer, I wasn't high out of my fucking mind.
Spencer, come on the show.
Yeah, man. Like, what's the name of that 7-inch again?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
God Bless America.
So the first person to show up on my screen with a video ready to go that has a question for JJ.
I'll give you this. It's from 1984.
Yeah, it's yours. Come on the show.
Distributed by the Cartel. Recorded
by the Cartel.
Yeah.
Cocaine not included.
Division of Skysaw Records. T Reason. That was we made up the label, whatever. Division of Skysaw Records. But this was when it came out in England in '84, it was number 7 on the independent charts.
Hell yeah.
It was the coolest thing because Sounds and Enemy. They were kind of Sounds and Enemy, or like the Rolling Stone magazines of like Spin and whatever the fuck. And they'd always have the charts. And there would be like Thompson Twins, Kajagoogoo, something, Toxic Reasons.
Hell yeah. That's great.
It was crazy shit. But yeah, it was good fun. And one of my I can't remember if it was Sounds or Enemy, but one of my proudest moments. The first concert I ever went to was Nazareth.
Fuck yeah.
Nazareth was huge in Vancouver. There's actually, I think there's a live from Vancouver album they have or whatever. They did really well in Vancouver. And but my first show was Nazareth. And then one of my first times I saw an ad in the Sounds or Enemy with Toxic Reasons. And the thing was, on the page, when you turn the page, there was an ad for Nazareth, and our ad was bigger. And I was like, I finally made it. I've got an ad in a magazine that's bigger than the first band I went and saw live.
That's fucking great, man. So would you, you know, I have a whole array of questions that I have not asked you, which is dope, by the way. I love it.
Oh, so would you say, shut up and let me ask you some questions?
No, not at all. But I do, because we're talking about Nazareth. Is there any specific bands that really inspired you to be a musician?
Oh God, yeah, David Bowie.
It
was huge. I Elton John. I remember I thought I was going to get in the music business and meet Elton and be his drummer and get to be such good friends and such a part of his band. I was going to be Elton Jim.
Elton Jim. Elton Jim John.
Elton Jim and Elton John. But David Bowie was huge, and Johnny Winter. I don't know if he's that, you know, Edgar Winter.
Yeah, I know.
Well, his Johnny Winter was
actually got to see him live.
Oh no shit. He's Johnny Winter's dead, but Edgar Winter is going to tour with Ringo.
No shit.
I just heard that on the radio.
I saw them. They opened up for Deep Purple.
Oh no shit.
I got to see Deep Purple live. It was super dope.
But Johnny Winter. It was Johnny Winter and live, and holy fuck, that album. I was very lucky. I'm the youngest of 5 kids, so we always had stacks of albums, but none of them were mine. You know, I don't know where they came from. And my brother, he went and saw The Police, and they played it like a bar, and it was one of the bigger bars, but they weren't famous by any whatever. But the opening band was the Specials, and my brother bought. He goes, that place was pretty good, but these guys, holy fuck!
Hell
and
yeah.
my brother, I got to the point where my brother said, "You can't fucking play that album anymore." The Specials was huge, but then. I saw a thing about the Sex Pistols, and I was like, I was a North Van Greaseball. I was the youngest brother of North Van Greaseballs. We all had really long hair, and never wanted to get short hair. But then I saw the Sex Pistols and the spiky hair, so I want to be a punk rocker.
Hell yeah!
So I cut my hair spiky, and I forgot where I'm fucking going with this. But oh yeah. And then I met a guy. I was going to Hamilton Junior High, and I met this guy. He had a VW Bug, kind of Baja wagon, you know, with the bumpers torn off and big knobby tires and whatever. And he had spiky hair, and we're like, "Are you into punk rock?" And he said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do you want to go to a show?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know there was shows. I thought there was the Sex Pistols." And he goes, "Oh, this band called DOA. You want to go?" And I said, "Fuck yeah." And we went to the show Arcadian Hall on Sunday hall shows was the big thing in Vancouver at the time. And it was DOA, U Jerks, which was spelled UJ3RK5. And I can't remember the other bands, but we're sitting there. I was watching. He goes, "Well, no, you're supposed to get right up front." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I was going, and he goes, No. You don't go when the opening bands go. And so you were taught early to not, you know, show that you thought the opening bands were cool, which kind of sucked. But so anyways, I wait till I think it was the Secret V's was the band right before DOA. And then he says, "Oh, okay, now go right up front." So I go right up front right up against the stage, and it was kind of one of those half stages, kind of short thing. And so I'm right up the front, and DOA get on, and it was the holy fuck DOA. It was Chuck Biscuits, Randy Rampage, Joey Shithead. That's it. And they fucking exploded in front of me, and I was scared shitless, but just like, holy fuck, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Fuck yeah.
And Randy Rampage is, if you Google him, whatever, research it, he was the coolest fucking rock and roll bass player. Bass slung down really low, bleach blonde, spiky, crazy hair with big long roots, kind of shitty tattoos, belt, kind of hung like a gunslinger low. And he did the daffy, the jump, where you split your legs open. He was the master of that. And apparently I found out years later that in high school, he was a swimmer, like a really competitive swimmer. So he had freakish upper body strength. So he would play his bass like sideways like that. And he didn't really jump. He just like opened his legs straight out. There's a famous picture of him where it's just like, holy fuck, how do you do the splits that big? And Joey Shithead, who was a pretty scary looking fucker at the time, and Chuck Biscuits, who was was an animal on the drums, and they blew me away, and I was like, holy fuck, I gotta do that.
Hell yeah.
And that, I mean, like I was saying, that happened to the guys in who eventually became Toxic Reasons in Dayton, Ohio, and we were destined to meet up to play together because it was just any stories about tours with Hannes, Korber, and KGB? Keine Gründe Beruhigung. That's what KG. No reason not to panic.
You can tell you spent some time in Germany. That, or you took German in high school or something.
Yeah, no. It was just, in Canada, it's officially bilingual. Everything. If it has English and French on it, everything's bilingual. And from like grade 4 on, you have to take French. And when I was a kid, it was like, fuck you. I wish I could go back in time and smack that fucker and say, learn it, because once you learn a language, you learn how to not, what does this mean in English? Just what does it mean? Whatever. And I wish I had done that, because in Europe, I started picking up it wasn't like I could get the gist of what they were saying. I learned a couple of words and just I could understand something about it. And then they would teach me words, and I would say it, and they go, "Oh my God, your pronunciation is perfect. You are a papagay. You are a parrot. You say it. I tell you, and you say it just right." And one time, Hannes, the singer for KGB, he says, "You stay 1 month after the tour, and we speak no English to you. You will be fluent. I tell you." And I wish I did that. But Hannes, we played at a small club called Nagold. A town called Nagold in Germany. And the guy, I wish I could remember, Yogi Bear. There was a girl, Tina Turner, and Yogi Bear. That wasn't their real names. That was their punk rock names. I don't know. But Yogi, the guy who put on the show, he goes, I have a friend in this town, Tübingen. And he goes, I'll take you there. You sleep by them. And so we go to this place. It was called the Mundsgasse in Tübingen. Tübingen with the umlauts over the. And the Mundsgasse is a Mundsgasse, GASS, that backwards looking B thing. And we get there, and it's this 3-story building. And we find out it used to be a police station. And each floor has a kitchen, a shower, and a couple of toilets, and a bunch of rooms. And Tübingen is a kind of a college town, so a lot of them is college kids live in this thing. And depending on what floor, it's there's this floor is a bunch of hippies, this floor is but we met this guy Hannes, who had a band called KGB, and they had broken up, but he was had one of the first singles of a punk band in Germany or whatever. But we meet this guy, and he's kind of like this. At the time, he was probably 30, maybe not even that. But I thought of him as like this wise old German guy. And we went and stayed at his place, and he had just a wall of albums. And knew about all these different bands and stuff. And we met him, and he got us in connection with a lot of these AZs, Jugendzentrums, and then he got his band back together again, and we started playing shows together. And then he would put on a lot of the shows, and then he got buddies that started a booking company, and so we just put him in charge of, hey, we're coming back, we want to come around here, and he would the Munzgasse, Danny, there's a place, the house ball in the there's the ground floor, and there was a place called the Blauet Salon, the Blue Saloon, and it was a lot of the people that lived in the Munzgasse would work at the Blue Saloon. It was a cool little pub thing. And when we did that recording with Hannes, and then there was going to be a tour in Europe, Danny and Tufty and Mark Cutzinger and I don't know who's the guitar player guy, but they went over there to do a tour with Hannes called Kraut Gringo Blitzkrieg, and when they had a day off or something, they Danny and Tufty and this other guy, they started Bigger Than Elvis. I don't know if you have.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen Bigger Than Elvis.
Yeah,
yep.
And that's where it started. But Danny, if I remember correctly, didn't we? I thought we started jamming. Was it after that tour? It was before that tour at Tufty's brother's place, and you, Tufty, and me, and I remember Eric Grimmett. But there was that we jammed at Tufty's brother's place, you, Tufty, and me, and I don't know if we played exclusively Elvis songs, but I remember we played a Neil Diamond song, but we were gonna do something, and we never nothing ever did that. In my brain, that was when Bigger Than Elvis started.
Eric Grimmett.
Yep. He's a very nice guy, very good guitar player. But yeah, they did a tour with Hannes over there, and they played all the songs that we recorded at City with Hannes. Like Danny wrote a couple of the songs, the music. I wrote a couple of the songs, the music. Merle Griggs. You ever heard of Merle Griggs?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Merle wrote one of the songs. I think Tufty did one, but we did the music, and Hannes came up with German lyrics, and we all played on it, and I can't remember why I didn't go, but they did a tour over in Europe with who the fuck did you guys? Some English band or something. They had a Greyhound. They had a big bus.
Danny said, "Yep, I will concede to your reality."
Yes, yeah. See, I knew it was because we started jamming, and I can't remember why I didn't continue it. But then Cutzinger started jamming. Cutzinger is fucking holy shit drummer.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, but yeah, it was the original lineup of what was going to be Bigger Than Elvis was Tufty, Danny, and me. So
hell yeah.
Vibrators, yeah, they toured with the Vibrators, the Gringo Blitzkrieg.
So I do not want to forget, they have this awesome feature on StreamYard where, we're doing a live interview, so things will go by. But there is a comment that I had to skip over earlier. I saw a poster. This is Buffy motherfucking Rollins. What's up, Buff? I saw a poster where Toxic Reasons played with the Dicks. What? That show?
Okay. No, we played with the Dicks probably 12 times. The first time we played at the Rock Island in Houston, Texas, it was MDC Stain. They were the Stains, but then there was a band from LA called the Stains, so they were starting to think of a new name. So then they called themselves the MDC Stains. It was MDC Stains, Dicks, and us at the Rock Island in Houston, Texas. It was fucking awesome. And Dicks Hate Police, I think they just came out with that single, and holy fuck, they were great. They're super, super, super good guys. And we got to be famous friends. It was not soon after that, it was the Great Migration to San Francisco. Everybody was like, because San Francisco just had a cool music scene. And Dicks moved to San Francisco. MDC moved to San Francisco. We moved to San Francisco. another band from Dayton, Ohio called Dementia Precox. They moved to San Francisco. Who the fuck else moved? Everybody was fucking moving to San Francisco. But it was there was a Maximum Rock and Roll was based out of San Francisco, and Maximum Rock and Roll was really instrumental on building the network of the underground touring network. There was a thing called Book Your Own Fucking Life or something like that, and it was like a magazine that had numbers of clubs and cool people that would let you stay at their house and shit like that. And but it was really came out of San Francisco, and which eventually spawned Gilman Street in Berkeley, which spawned Green Day. But it was started with like Tim Yohannan from Maximum Rock and Roll and whatever, and it was a really fucking cool place to get shit together, and it was kind of I mean, maybe our motivations were a little bit shallow. It was a lot cooler to be from San Francisco than Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
But and then truly at the time when we really like moved to San Francisco, there was only one guy in the band from Dayton, Ohio. It was Bruce. Rob had emigrated to Dayton, Ohio with his family, but he wasn't from there. Tufty definitely was not from there. I wasn't from there. So we toured all the fucking time. Greg Stout, the bass player, before Tufty, but he played bass after Bruce. When Bruce moved to lead guitar, and Greg Stout played bass with us. He was buddies with, have you ever heard the name Arturo Vega?
Mm-hmm.
He was the art director of the Ramones.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg Stout met him early days of Ramones. And we got to we're from fucking everywhere. And which got us in. We got to play with the Ramones a bunch of times.
Hell yeah.
There was one time in New York City, we played I don't know if it was the show that we played with Bad Brains at the CBGBs.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Is there any like dope ass punk bands you haven't played with from the 80s?
No, we played with every fucking
Jesus Christ, man.
If you remember those memes that said, name the bands that you played with, and I'm like, okay,
JJ wins.
And then people were like, well, I bow to your greater good.
Fuck yeah,
one of the best bands we played with was funniest bands was Echo and the Bunnymen.
Echo and the Bunnymen.
We played with in Milwaukee, and I don't know if it was the Dead Kennedys, but we played in Milwaukee, and I think it was without Dead Kennedys. And then we were still in town, and it was fucking winter time. It was a pretty wicked winter there, and the promoter called the guy that we were staying with and said, "Hey, I got Echo and the Bunnymen playing tonight, and the opening band, Let's Active. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but they were kind of a new wavy poppy band, whatever. They said they can't make it. They're snowed in somewhere. Can that Toxic Reasons band come and play?" And they're like, "Sure, fuck yeah." So we opened for Echo and the Bunnymen, it was a little bunch of teeny bopper girlies in chairs that were right up to the front of the stage, and we're like, "Oh fuck!" And you guys aren't gonna like this at all. Well, we did okay. They after a couple of songs, like I said before, we were good at it. Even if you didn't like punk rock, there many times we'd stay with people that were putting on the shows or had something to do with it, and they didn't like punk rock, but they came to the show anyways, and they were like, "Fuck, we were worried that but you guys are rock. You're a rock band." I mean, we were a rock band that played punk rock,
right? Yeah,
but
it all kind of gels together.
Yeah, no, but that Echo and the Bunnymen was. I was telling some other fucking story, and I got sidewinded on that.
Oh yeah, we were. I think we were talking about. Wait, we already covered the Dicks, right?
Yes, yeah, Dicks, yeah, Dicks, MDC, us. But yeah, the migration to San Francisco. No, Arturo Vega. Yeah, was in New York City. I think we opened for Bad Brains, and funny enough, the band that played before us was Beastie Boys.
Of course,
and
of course,
and then we went to go hang out with me and Bob Kramer, our roadie, went to go hang out with Arturo Vega, and If you ever see early recordings of Ramones at Artie's Loft, that's Arturo. Or the Chinese rock. Somebody call me on the phone. Say, hey, is Artie home? That's Arturo Vega. So we went to Arturo Vega's house, and God rest in peace, one of the nicest guys in the whole wide world.
Oh, yeah.
But we go there and boom, lines up the coke, rifle down a bunch of coke, and
I've never done coke in my entire life.
God. And he goes, you want to go to a show? And we're like, fuck yeah. And so we had a few beers at his house, did a little more coke, walk out, and I don't know, it might be worldwide now, but I'd never seen it at the time. Have you ever seen where people point at the street and all of a sudden a cab pulls up? And I thought, holy fuck, that's the most magical thing I've ever seen. So this guy is the coolest fucker I've ever seen. And we hop in the cab and we go to the Ritz in New York, and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five are doing a showcase at the Ritz.
Hell yeah.
I don't think that Don't Push Me Till I Goes to the Edge.
Yeah.
I don't think it had broke yet, but they were on the cusp of national whatever.
Yeah, they were getting
and so the Ritz is a big place in New York. And so we go up to the front, and you can tell that the guy's a music guy. Just something about him. So he walks up, and there's a guy with a clipboard, and he says, Arturo Vega +3. And they, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Vega. Don't see any. Well, we'll take care of it later. Here. And he pays the cover, and we go in. And it was like, I look back, and there's like 2 blocks of people waiting in line. He wasn't on no guest list. He just didn't want to wait in line, and he knew the thing. So we scoot in. We go up, and there's the Ritz has this big balcony around, and then there's the main area, and there's the stage. And we go up, and all the tables say reserved. And he flicks them. We sit down, and we look like we're supposed to be there.
Hell yeah!
And so we end up going to see Grandmaster fucking Flash and the Furious Five snorting coke with Arturo Vega.
Hell yeah, that's dope, man.
And I'm trying to think. I think I was like 17. I don't know I don't think Independence was out yet. Oh wait, no, because Ed wasn't in the band, so it was after Independence. So it had to have been like 83. So I was like 17 or whatever, 18. It was crazy.
That's the year I was born.
Man, what you accomplished before obviously in the sense of time, before I graduated high school.
What year did you graduate high school?
2002.
Holy shit balls.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I retired in 95. I was 30 something. 30. Yeah. No. Was I 30? Yeah. Yeah. And 95. Cool that was the last tour we did.
Hell yeah. Thank you, by the way, Kelsey, for chiming in so much and bringing in these awesome fucking subjects to talk about.
He's the greatest. I don't know where he finds these fucking posters from all over. That it was like, holy shit, I forgot about that fucking show. Where'd you fucking find that thing?
Hell yeah.
And there was, I think he posted one, and he said, it said,
thank you, by the way.
Oh yeah, Toxic Reasons. If you know anything about Europe, look at my tour poster that I made here. None of the people in Europe understood the dates because they do it the other way. It would be 28/8/2008. They were like, "What the? Huh?
Oh,
what?"
The year first.
They do the
shit, man. Call me European because everything that I do, like especially with pictures, it's always year first.
Yeah,
because you gotta keep it.
No. They do the day first.
Oh, the
and the
day
month.
first, and then
day, month, year.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
And so when I sent them over, they're like, "What the fuck do you want us to do with this?" And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Oh, you dumb American." I'm like, "Ah." So yeah, I had a stack of tour posters that they didn't understand over in Europe.
Hell yeah! Do you still have a bunch of those? Like, did you collect stuff? Do you like?
I should have taken.
I feel like you probably do. You brought that record.
My bedroom is much like this, but it's all Toxic Reasons posters everywhere. And,
I was pointing out earlier, every single show that we have done since we started back up and doing podcasts again last year, every show, if you look right, right there
Yeah.
is a JJ Pearson and his weapons of ass destruction. Probably one of the coolest posters Rich Marker has ever made. But yeah, that's got to be, it's been on my wall actually much longer than we started doing the podcast out of here.
But wait till you see. I've started playing in a new band, and
what's the name of this band?
The name of this band is called. Now you're too young. You won't get this.
Oh,
and it's not. It's called Cam Fong as Chin Ho.
Cam Fong
as Chin Ho.
As Chin Ho. You got me. Got him.
Okay. Does anybody get? Okay. Oh, I don't have any more prizes. Oh, I gave you 2 posters. Yeah. If anybody knows what Cam Fong as Chin Ho means, gets a JJ Pearson 2008 European Tour poster.
Hell yeah. You're on the clock.
Yeah. But the Hawaii 5-0. You ever heard of that show?
Uh-huh.
And when I was a kid, I was a big Hawaii 5-0 fan. And the names would go through, and then there was one of the characters, Cam Fong as Chin Ho. And my brother and I would always say, why the fuck did they change his name? Why didn't they just leave it Cam Fong? And we thought that was funny then. But now I'm thinking I could use it as the stupid white privilege sensibility. Of course, Cam Fong would be Chin Ho because, Steve McCarrett, or the guy, what's his, Jack Lord. Why didn't they leave Jack Lord? Why did they change it to Steve McGarrett? So, and I know my brother, my oldest brother, would laugh because he would get it if he saw.
Yeah,
I had a band called Cam Fong as Chin Ho, so I did it.
That's good. It's clever.
I did it to make my brother laugh, and I wanted to have almost a not really a Hawaiian flair to it, but like a little bit of a surf flair to it. Like I want to play a couple of instruments like pipeline and I can't think off the top of my head, but I want to do a couple of like kind of surfy instrumental songs, some of my songs, and some tasty covers, kind of like Bloods and Pigs, like a Vancouver fuck band. We get up and play covers and have some fun.
Yeah.
So and Julie Huffaker is the bass player, and Captain Steele is a guitar player, and Captain Steele couldn't make it to a practice, and my nephew, who lives with me, is an amazing musician. I said, "Hey, do you want to fill in?" And he said, "Sure." And because I wanted Julie Huffaker to come over and still get to play.
Hell yeah!
And so I showed him.
She typically works with Craig Bell, correct?
I don't know.
I don't know why
she's
that connection is in my head.
She's gonna get mad at me because I can't think of.
Don't get mad at me either.
Yeah, but no, she's a local legend in Vancouver punk scene. She's been around forever, and the funny thing is when our bass player quit, we were bouncing around the idea of her being in Toxic Reasons, and she goes, "Yeah, Tufty taught me how to play," and we're like, "Oh, why don't we get Tufty to play?" And Zero Boys were kind of in a break. They broke up a bit there, and so Drew Cadaver knows who Julie Huffaker is.
Yeah,
she's a great bass player. We did at the Mill and at the what's that Dark Acre Brew? What the fuck? The
Black Circle.
There was a
cheers to all y'all at Black Circle and everything you do.
But
love you guys.
We did a Cramps cover thing. Carl Arthur and me, Eric Anderson, and Julie Huffaker. And that was the first time I played with her. And I was like, "Fuck, you're damn good." And we had some fun. And so I wanted to do a band with a girl drummer, me playing guitar, Julie Huffaker on bass, and Craig Chaos singing. I wanted to do like kind of a hardcore 77, like English punk and
early
American punk rock shit, and have
Craig. That's a fan. Why doesn't Craig do?
We talked about it, and he was like, "If you if you think so. And I was like, he's done like karaoke or something.
Yeah, yes.
And he's good. And I think it would be fucking great. I wanted to call it like Chaos 77 or something like that. And he was up for it. And but I couldn't. There was a girl I met at a Starbucks. She had like Egyptian kind of tattoos, and I can't remember her name now. But we were talking, and she was a drummer. And I said, "Would you ever want to?" And she goes, as long as it's music, not just trying to get in my pants or whatever. Like, no. I want to play in a band, but I want to have a girl drummer. I want to play guitar. This girl, Julie Huffaker, playing bass, and Craig Chaos singing. That was my plan. And I couldn't find a girl drummer that wanted to do it. And so that kind of piddled away. And then the Cam Fong is Chin Ho thing came to my mind. And I was like, still Julie Huffaker. I asked Danny if he wanted to play guitar, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm fucking busy with his stuff." And he goes,
the roundups.
Yeah. And he goes, ask Eric Anderson. And Eric, I asked him, and he says, maybe. He goes, I'm still kind of busy. And I'm like, fuck. And then Captain Steele. So I called up Captain Steele, and he said, sure. And somewhere in there though, I did a country band. 2019 going into 2020, I had I'm a truck driver, and I had a buddy, Mo Foster. I don't know if you know Mo Foster.
I know the name.
Yeah, he plays stand-up bass, and he drives a truck. And I said, I want to do a fucking OCD, Outlaw Country Driver. We play country songs, and I play stand-up drums, and he plays stand-up bass. And this guy John Byrne, fucking amazing guitar player, and he plays like slide guitar and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
And Bruce, and we just do a country, some country songs, and some we did a Motorhead song country. We did we did Rockaway Beach, very country. We did Hot Legs, and we were having so much fun. And we played New Year's Eve 2020 at Radio with Toxic Reasons and Weapons of Mass Destruction, and the Ramon. We did a Ramones cover thing, but I was having so much fun with that country thing. And then fucking pandemic came along.
Yeah, and shit on everything,
and that just kind of went away. I've talked to the other guys, John Byrne, if you're watching, and Mo Foster. I sent out feelers to you guys if you want to do that again, because we're having so much fun.
Hell yeah, that's what it's all about, baby. Having fun.
There was one time we were practicing, and I just broke into this giddy fucking laugh, and Bruce goes, "What the fuck was that?" And John Byrne goes, "Pure fucking joy, man." And I was like, yes, it was so fun. I get goosebumps. And that sometimes music can be the greatest fucking thing. That fucking band, Barstool Preachers, that was that. Those guys were, you could tell between them, it was pure fucking joy.
Fuck yeah.
They loved each other. They loved
There's
playing,
nothing better than that.
And there's nothing better than that. And they commented on the 50 people, or I don't know, whatever, but they weren't like mocking it. But those 50 people felt like they were the 50,000 people at a show, and those guys had them in the fucking room. They had me dancing and singing whoa, and I never do that shit. And that reminded me of how much fun that fucking shit is. It's pure fucking joy when you get the right group of guys together playing some tunes. It's amazing shit.
That is literally the sum of it. The best bands I've seen on stage, it's like family, and then the best bands I've ever played in, it's like family. You guys are just fucking having fun, and just it's all about just playing music and entertaining people and just having the time of your motherfucking life.
Oh, Drew and we talked about doing a tribute band too. Yeah, fuck, I want to play with Drew.
Hell yeah.
But this guy Davis, photographer guy, and he got a picture of us. I'm not sure if it was the show we played with Bad Brains in Florida, or it was one of the times we played on our own in this show in Florida. But if I wasn't in the band, I would think it was a thing. It's not just because I'm in the band. It's the coolest fucking live shot of a band. I'm going, like, you could tell I'm just pounding the shit out of the drums, kind of blurred hair or whatever. Bruce is he had just whipped his head back, and so his hair's like swang, and it looks almost like GBH kind of hair.
Yeah,
but it's just his hair. Like they say, Jesus, does Bruce have a mohawk? And no, it's just he's whipping his hair around, and Tufty is fucking just nailing it. It was like at one point, and Rob is jumping doing the Daffy, and it's like. You look at that picture and you can tell that fucking band rocks.
Fuck yeah, man.
And it's one of my favorite pictures ever.
I'll tell you, man, as a photographer, I had one of those moments last night. I was totally blown away by the opening band and because of their presence.
Yeah.
And that's every here and there that will happen. And I always tell them, like, thank you for making me look like a fucking awesome photographer. Because it's like I just capture moments.
Yeah.
And when you've got all these people just fucking losing their shit on stage and having the time of their fucking life, it's just such a beautiful fucking thing, man.
Yeah, it is. That I was lucky to be with a group of guys that we gelled.
Hell yeah.
And just had the fucking time of our life. It was those times when you're in Kenosha, fucking Wisconsin, or Kenosha, Nebraska, not Omaha, Nebraska, Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And you've got them by the fucking palm in the palm of your hand, and you're just rocking like a motherfucker. There's nothing like it. There's no feeling like it. It's the greatest thing in the whole wide world. Every little kid that thinks he can play in a band wants to have that sometime.
Absolutely.
And I've been lucky enough to have that sometimes. Sometimes you play the shit shows and there's nobody there and all that shit. But sometimes I've had the Berlin. We played at the oldest squat in I can't remember the fucking name of it, Tommy Weisbecker House or something in Berlin, but it was the oldest. Hannes told us it's the oldest squat in existence. And we played, and there was ain't you playing across the pond soon? Yeah, we're in July, August. But we played this place, and there was no backstage. There was the only way to get on and off the stage was right off the stage.
Yeah.
And we played everything. And I mean, at the time we played for like 2.5 fucking hours, and we played everything we know, and they wouldn't let us leave. They were like, no, and like, so we start, I can't remember what the fuck we played. And then we started playing that every time you go away, you take a piece of me with you. Because it's got the bass line on that. Boom, 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 boom. Tufty used to play that when he's tuning up or whatever on stage. So he just started playing that. Because it's whatever we started drumming. And all these German punks were like every time you go away, and we could have farted into a microphone and they would have like
hell yeah.
But it was they wouldn't let us leave. It was some of the.
Did you ever have a tune up obviously playing the drums?
Yep.
Was there anything ever that you were always wanting to kind of like?
It's funny. You know that Led Zeppelin? Oh,
Over the hills far away.
I the first time I heard that on a record, I was like, hey, that's how Bruce tunes his guitar. I didn't know that was a Led Zeppelin song. I thought that was Bruce. Give
me a tap. My tune-up song is "The Girl I Love" has long black wavy hair, which is technically it's a Zeppelin cover, I believe.
Yeah.
Jimmy Page might argue with that. I don't fucking know. You can ask his lawyer.
But yeah, I swear to God, I was like, that's how Bruce tunes up his guitar. What the fuck is that? That's Led Zeppelin, you idiot.
Man.
Oh, and another one. Have you ever heard of the Popo Pies? It's they were a kind of a punk band out of San Francisco, and they did Truckin'. The Grateful Dead song Truckin'?
Okay. No, I'm not a Grateful Dead guy.
I got my chips.
I thought you were going Deep Purple.
Truckin'.
What's that?
Oh, Space Truckin'.
Space.
Oh, I love.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, you were saying early band. Fucking
Machine Head is like
Deep Purple
one of the
Machine
dopest
Head
albums
was
ever.
huge in as a kid. Yeah. Oh yeah, Space Truckin'.
It's my jam. I've tried to get like every bit of every let's do Space Trucking. I want to do Space Trucking. They're like, can you pull that?
Those organs though?
Yeah, because I want to sing it, you know. And people are like, "Can you do that?" I'm like, "Yes, I can." Oh yeah, I could sing, man. A lot of people don't know that, especially with the band that I sing in. Not a whole lot of singing, a lot of screaming. So, but
when Ed Pittman, our lead singer, quit, the first show we did was with Dead Kennedys at the Elite Club in San Francisco, and the guys had been writing the songs for Killed by Remote Control, so they sang their songs, and I kind of took the job of singing the old Ed Pittman songs. And at the end of the show, we're backstage, and Jello Biafra comes up and he goes, "Well, JJ wins the Ed Pittman sound-alike contest." That was my little
hell yeah
Jello Biafra thing. Oh, I was chatting with you.
Yeah,
and
this is great. It
was the craziest thing. I'm sitting there on Messenger with you, and then my phone goes blink, and I look. It's fucking Jello Biafra. How you doing, brother? And I'm like, holy shit. Hey, Jello.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Tell you what, man. Like,
that made my day.
It was kind of surreal because it was like one of those moments of like, holy shit. You know, like we're gonna have some great conversations on Sunday. So
and he goes, so I hear you're a while back, I hear you're a trucker. And I was like, how the fuck do you know that I'm and he is a very good guy. I contacted him to there was the albums I gave you
thank
record
you so much
a record
for hooking
label
that up.
A record label in England was re-released that, and I was trying to find, because we didn't have master tapes of shit, you know. A lot of these bands, they still have the 2.5-inch tape and the 1/4-inch master. We had nothing. And a lot of the times, to save money in the studio back in the old days when they had tapes, the was it a 2-inch tape or 2.5-inch tape, but the big fucking reels, you could do a thing where you didn't buy the tape, you just rented it. Because what you're doing, you're putting all the the 24 tracks on that, and then you bounce it down to the 1/4-inch master. Then you don't technically need these anymore. So you would just give it back to the studio, they'd erase it, and they'd use it again for the next band that wanted to rent the thing. So a lot of the stuff, we could never remix it or anything as long as we had the 1/4-inch master. But we never had any of that shit. Yeah. I mean, we lived in a van, so.
And for a time, a 2-room tent.
Yeah, in a 2-bedroom tent. So, a lot of that stuff we never kept. Truly everything up until a couple of years ago, everything I owned of Toxic Reasons, I bought off of eBay, because I never had any of that stuff going on, and I'd Google it and find it. And then sometimes they go, holy shit, JJ Pearson, are you the drummer of the band? I'm like, yeah. Like, no way. And then I think, oh, maybe they'll give it to you. So yeah, now it's $40, not $20.
Charge you double.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
But yeah, I pretty much everything I got is, except for the new album thingies. We each got a stack of those. But that was okay. Now if a quick funny story about that. I was on the road and doing the over the road trucking thing, and I got in contact with some guy. He wanted to buy our back catalog, and it was Steve Beattie in England, and he's got a thing called Plastic Head, and he said, I want to buy your back catalog, and so I said to the guys, I go, hey, I don't remember back in the day who was ever voted in charge. It just seemed whoever took the bull by the horns and did it, we sort of followed behind. I said, I got this thing going. Let me figure this out. We might make a little bit of money. And they said, sure, fuck it, go ahead. So I'm talking to this guy, and he's he wanted everything. And I said, well, Independence, the first album, it's been re-released 3 times, and now there's a 40-year anniversary edition.
Yeah, I saw that. Actually, I downloaded it.
So I'm proud of it. I was 16, 17 years old when it happened, and it was the it's a good album and all that stuff. But I think everybody that ever wanted it has it. And so I was like, absolutely not. Independence is not going to be a re-release. I want to respect the old copies or whatever the fuck. And he's like, oh fuck, okay. And then I said another one, anything for money, I don't have anything to do with, because a few years, so I don't want to. I can't speak on that. And I'm the guy you're dealing with, so it's not going to be that one. And then there's one album called Dedication that I couldn't get really a hold, and I didn't really try, to be honest, with Fefo, who played guitar with us for a bit. And without hashing anything, I didn't really get into negotiating with that. And I figured it'd be easier if it was just Tufty Bruce and I and Rob, the old, sadly, Terry Hollywood's dead, so he couldn't do any negotiating. There was one album with him on it. And so I said to the guy, it's going to be Killed by Remote Control and Bullets for You, In the House of God, or hold on, Killed by Remote Control, No Peace in Our Time, Bullets for You, In the House of God, and the last one, fuck, I can't remember the name, No Peace in Our Time. And he says, okay, and he was going to give us $3 for it, but then we wouldn't own it anymore. Mm-hmm. But I thought, fuck, we're not ever going to do anything. We haven't done anything in this many years. Why, I don't give a shit. And then I'm driving in my truck, and my phone does the. Have you ever been called on Messenger?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know you could do that, and it's ringing really weird. And I answer it, and I swear to God, this is his exact voice. Is this JJ Pearson? I'm like, yeah. I can't believe I'm talking to JJ Pearson. He goes, I got to tell you, mate, when I was a lad, me and a few of my mates went to the record shop. I was pretty sure we smoked some spliff. He goes, I bought your album, Bullets for You. Changed my fucking life, mate.
Hell yeah.
And I fuck right on. I said, man, I go, that you just made my fucking life. I'm driving my truck and I'm goosebumpy him again. And he's like, oh, right on, mate. You got to know how great it was. And I said, well, funny thing is, I'm talking to a label guy in England, and he's buying our back catalog. I'm going to re-release all of it. Don't do it, mate. It's your fucking babies. Mm. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, wow. And the thing was, when I found out that we were going to do the re-release of all the things, I wanted to call I was so excited, the stuff's going to finally be out, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody. And the excitement of telling everybody that's going to be has kind of worn off. And this guy said, this, don't do it, mate. It's your babies. And so I talked to Master Joni, and he said, well, the amount of money they're giving you, it's, a good hunk of money. And it's, it would behoove you to go ahead and do it, because you'll never see money like that trying to do it on your own. And I called Biafra to see if he had any of our master tapes. He goes, oh, fuck, I don't have any of that shit. And I asked him about it, and he says, well, he goes, the guy had done some stuff, some alternative tentacle stuff, and he goes, he buys a lot of World War II memorabilia. I don't think he's a Nazi, but I don't know much about it. He's legit. And so I figure, okay, well, fuck, we'll do it. And but then this Garf Kent guy, did I say the name of the English guy that called me on his name is Garf Kent, Garf Kent. Garf Kent. And he don't do it, mate. It's your babies. So I thought about it. And then I talked to the Steve Beatty guy, and I said, we're really that Biafra said, he goes, I bet you the guy has a pocket full of this money that he's going to give you. And he's a fan, and he wants to put it out. If he's going to make any money, it's going to be off of commercials or movie or whatever. He can get it on a soundtrack or something like that. And you won't see any of that. You won't have any control of any of that. It could be used at a fucking Nazi rally or whatever the fuck. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And so I thought about it, and I called him. I said, we're really flattered that you think you can make some dough off of our stuff, but we don't want to give it up. And he goes, well, can I license it? And I said, well, let me get back with you. I called Biafra again. What does licensing mean? And he says, he goes, well, you'll still own the rights to it, but he probably won't give you as much money. Right. And you do like a 60-40, 70-30, whatever the fuck split you figure out. And after, you come up with the amount of time, however many years, the sun sets, and then you get all your stuff back and blah, blah, blah. So, it's
kind of like franchising
Yeah.
in a way.
So I called
The
him back
right
and
to
I
use
said,
your name.
yeah, I said, sure. Well, yeah, let's do it. And we get like a 70-30. They get 70, we get 30 of I think physical, and then it's vice versa. Online, whatever streaming, we get 70, they get 30. And he does fucking shirts and shit, and he puts out ads, and we were never gonna get around to doing it. Besides, we never had any product to do it. So Biafra told me that he goes, I got a guy that can take off a record, and he can master it and get, you know, wonderful sound and shit. And another guy, Tim Brickley, a local producer here, said, I got a guy that, you know, it costs you, but we can get it off records and get a good thing. And then Bruce says, well, I got a guy says he's got everything that we've recorded. And I can't think of his name right now. But let me see one of the albums. Sure. He said, I talked to him, and he says, Daniel, what's his fucking last name? I'm sorry, man. I'm having a brain fart. But he says, you know, you guys fucking changed my life. I traveled in South America because I was turned on by you guys and did all this. He goes, I have that program that I can take records and make a master out of it. It's a thing that it takes clicks and pops out of it. Like you can do it. But the only thing is, a lot of music is clicks and pops.
Yeah.
So you have to physically listen to it to make sure it's only taking the clicks and pops of the needle. So it's a really tedious fucking thing. And this guy says, I would be honored if you'd let me do it.
That's awesome.
Daniel Foote. Greatest fucking guy. And he takes all whatever copies of whatever the fuck he's got, and he remasters all our albums.
That's
dope. They sound better than the fucking originals. And it was all because of Daniel.
Are these remasters, are they available online, like iTunes and Spotify? Okay.
Yeah, they're on all the, and that's the thing. We never had anything on the Spotify's and the whatever
until the licensing,
until this thing.
Okay.
And now you can get everything.
Yeah.
But all of it says release date, something 20.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, holy shit, these guys came up with like 6 albums in 20.
It's like 2008 or something.
But I mean, this one is 1984. This one's 1985. This one's 1986. This one's 1993, and this one's 1995. But I'm very proud of all of them. But what's this? I have a video of you playing Canal Street Tavern with Terry. Oh no, that's not Terry. That's Joel Agnew, I think. Joel Agnew was the first guitar player, and Bruce was the bass player. And the funny story with that is Joel and Bruce. I wish I could remember the name of something like Exodus or something, fucking really metally kind of whatever band. But they were jamming together, but they were listening to the Pistols, never mind the Bollocks. And Ed Pittman was walking down the street with a 12-pack of Strohs under his arm, and he hears the fucking Pistols. You guys playing Never Mind the Bollocks? And he called it Bollocks. Never mind you playing Bollocks? And they're like, fuck yeah. And they hung out, and next thing you know, they were Toxic Reasons. Yeah, they started, and the name Toxic Reasons. He wanted it to be something like poison, something, and he was like something, you know, like I can't think of what was popping in his head, but in the background, Holidays. Now I got a reason was playing, and he goes, Toxic Reasons.
Hell yeah.
That's the name of the band.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Ed Pittman.
I'm glad I didn't have to ask that. I had it written down.
Ed Pittman came up with the name and the flag logo, and he was the singer on the first album. Great guy. And we had a little disagreement at some point, and he got tired of playing and said, fuck it. And
that's how it goes.
I said in an interview, and he took a little bit of exception to it, and I didn't mean anything by it, but I said when Ed left the band, and then we recorded Kill by Remote Control. Right before it, we opened up for UK subs, and we played 2 shows, one in Berkeley and one in San Francisco. And the show in Berkeley was at this really cool club called the Berkeley Square, but there was never for some reason not very many people ever went to it. And it was a UK sub show. There should have been packed. But we played with them, and we did our set, and then we sat right up front, and they got on, and they were so powerful when they kicked in, and all of them would step up to the mic and belt out, whatever. It was like, we want to do that.
Hell yeah.
And that's, we got to where, some of the older songs that we would sing trade-off lines. Like I'd sing a line and then all of us would sing the second line, or I would sing a line and then the other guys would sing and because we wanted that power of that the UK subs showed us. And then, the guys started writing, we started writing tunes with them singing it in mind instead of writing it for Ed to sing. And, but to me, I said in an interview, and Ed took exception to it, that's when we became a band. We were no longer Ed and the Toxic Reasons. It was Toxic Reasons,
yeah.
and I didn't mean that in any disrespect to Ed, but it was like, it was when to me, it became, because before that, Bruce was the only one would every once in a while would yell out, "I don't want to be," or the occasional background vocal. But before that, it was all Ed. And then after Ed, it was all of us.
Yeah. I can't even really imagine if it had taken off Ed and the Toxic Reasons.
But I mean, he was a great front, a huge fucking guy, would jump all over the place. He was a great showman, great voice. But yeah, we got at some point we disagreed on some things, and he said, "I'm going back to Dayton, Ohio." And I think I asked Bruce, I said, I can't, why did Ed quit? And he fell in love. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, but yeah, he wasn't happy with what was going on with the record label guy, and he was in love. And then he just said, fuck it.
Yeah. So this is a question I was wanting to ask you. You might have possibly already answered it, but when did you actually start playing music? Was it drums, or did you start playing a different instrument?
Well, it was drums. I always wanted to be a drummer. I got my first snare drum when I was 8 years old. My dad was a fucking groover. He was he didn't know real instruments. Mm-hmm. He played the gut bucket.
The gut bucket.
Yeah, and
no idea what that means.
It's a wash tub, flips upside down with a stick and a bass string.
I see it. Okay.
But it's not any notes. You just pull the stick to make it tighter.
Yeah.
And my dad could smoke the fucking
dude. He could bucket. Literally talk about that's.
And my mom was a guitar player, and she could play ukulele and guitar and whatever. And they were very Peter, Paul, and Mary kind of. They were like kind of the hip folksy things. But my dad got me a snare drum on my 8th birthday, and I don't remember asking for drums or whatever. But I got a pearl snare drum, gold sparkle, and he got a pair of sticks and a pair of brushes. And when he gave it to me, he goes, he could really do the brushes. He couldn't play a whole kit, but he played the brushes.
Hell yeah.
And then I was in grade 4 band, and I remember we played a Christmas concert. Maybe it wasn't a Christmas, but it was a school concert, and we played a song called "New Wrinkle on a Twinkle."
New Wrinkle on a Twinkle.
It was "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star," and it started off, with the trumpets and whatever, and it's the grade 4 and 5 trumpet.
Yeah.
So it must have sounded terrible, but it does the "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" bit, and then after it does the first line, I go. And I remember, I get goosebumps I remember when we were practicing it, when I'd go into the thing, into whatever, all the kids in the trumpets and saxophones and whatever would all turn around. Oh,
that was dry run.
Yeah. But they would turn around and watch me do the ride cymbal and the snare drum. And I was like, I'm a star. I want to be a rock star. I want to be in a rock and roll band.
That's amazing, man.
And and I
you were 8?
It was 8, yeah. And then there was a thing called Music of 44, and it was the school district 44, and we'd go to the Centennial Theater in North Vancouver, and it was a kind of a fine arts night. There would be choirs and bands and whatever. And while you're waiting, you're in the rec center next to the theater, and all the kids in all the different school bands are kind of hanging around with each other. And there was this guy named Cliff Ma who was in North Van Hyde, the drummer, and he had a drum kit set up, and he started playing. And I was watching him, and he was amazing. And I was trying to, how do you get the kick pedal? So I watched him, and I sat there, and he taught me like a basic rock beat right then and there. And I was like, I kind of got it right away.
Hell yeah.
I was like, I can play. And my goals were fairly shallow. I wanted to be a rock star in a rock and roll band. So I learned how to play drums good enough to be in a rock and roll band. You know, I didn't practice all my rudiments and all that stuff. I could play a solid fucking beat, and so I could be in a rock band.
Hell yeah.
I know enough. I mean, I'm sure if I saw myself then and later, I learned things along the way, but I was about as good as I was then as I am now, because I was like, I'm good enough to be in a rock band.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then I saw DOA, and I was like, I want to be in a rock band like that.
That one. Hell yeah.
And no, but it was it's taken me all over the world. I left home very young and hopped with, and luckily hooked up with a bunch of really good guys.
Fuck yeah, man.
Because they could have been fucking junkie, holy fuck. I mean, we did our little bit of this, a little bit of that, but they I was always safe. They always, you know, they were in their 20s. I was 16.
Yeah.
You know, so they took care of their little boy. There was at one point that we were bouncing around the idea of Bruce and Mary, his wife, adopting me so I could become legal in this. But yeah, I'm still a Canadian. I just have a green card, but I live legally in the States now. But yeah, I got to do a bunch of shit. I put out 9 albums, played in 12 fucking countries.
Fuck yeah, man.
And got to meet some very cool people. Ooh, one quick story. Motorhead. We were in Boston, and we played a show, and then we were getting interviewed by this local Boston radio station. And they just, the guy was interviewing us with a tape player, blah, blah, blah. And Motorhead was, he said, oh, here's the radio station that I'm with, blah, blah, blah. And Motorhead was getting interviewed. I was like, oh, fuck, no shit. And I said, man, we just come out with Kill by Remote Control. And I was like, I want to, you know, can you get this to Motorhead? And he goes, well, shit, they're staying at the Hojo's down at, I'm like, what the fuck's Hojo's? And he goes, Howard Johnson's right down there. And like, oh, right on. So we finished the interview, and I go to me and Rob go to the Hojo's, Howard Johnson's. And I can't believe, I don't remember how I found out his room number, but we hop in the elevator, go up to his room, knock on the door, and guy answers. And I say, hey, is Lem here? And then, oh no, Lem's out for the night. Oh, fuck. And I'm like, well, I'm in called Toxic Reasons, blah, blah, blah. We're very inspired by him, blah, blah, blah. And I'd like to give him an album. And we give it to me. So right on. Okay. So we hop back on the elevator, go back down to the lobby, doors open, Rob walks out, Lemmy walks in to the elevator. I'm like, ugh. So I stay in the elevator, and he fucking looks at me like, what the fuck? Hits the button. He's going up, and he's got a bottle of Crown sitting there. And I was like, "Wait, Lem, I just dropped an album, blah, 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 blah." And he said, yeah. And I said, you need any help drinking that? And he goes, "Aye, Blondie, if she ain't gonna fucking drink it with me, I ain't fucking drinking it with you." I'm like, right on.
Hell yeah.
Get
man.
up to his floor, doors open, he gets out, I push the button, go back down. But that was my brush with greatness.
Hell yeah, man.
We ended up playing with them twice in I never told him the story of that, but we played with them in Cincinnati and Indianapolis. The Indianapolis show, people ask, you know, what was the loudest band you've ever saw? It was fucking Motorhead.
Fuck yeah.
But especially so at the Vogue in Indianapolis, because it was kind of sparsely attended. So there wasn't any meat there to absorb The fucking holy fuck sound. So it was so loud. It was fucking with my heart. I had to go outside and kind of reboot it was, I mean, it really was, it could have been my imagination, but it felt like it was fucking my heartbeat up.
I've been there.
Yeah, it was so fucking loud, but they were amazing. Yeah, but I got to play with Motorhead.
That's fucking dope, man.
I play with Ramones 4 times. Got to hang out with Greg Stout, our old bass player. He said with Dee Dee, he goes, you're in good with Dee Dee if he shows you his knife collection. And I'm hanging out in Arturo's room, we're snorting coke, and they said, but don't, Dee Dee wasn't doing chemicals at the time, so don't let him know we're doing the coke. And then all of a sudden, Dee Dee's here. Okay. Bullshit. And we start talking, and he goes, oh, yeah, come here. So I go to Dee Dee's room, and he pulls out 2 briefcases from under his thing. I'm hanging out with Dee Dee Ramone, and he's showing me his knife collection.
Hell yeah. And Flynn.
I was like, I'm hanging out with Dee Dee fucking Ramone.
That's fucking badass, man.
And that was pretty cool. And Dee Dee's wife remembers. She said she remembers me. But we're doing what is it called? Where they do it in Fountain Square and whatnot. Where they did like Johnny Cash, and it's a damn it. It's a big thing where sometimes they pick an artist and all
the Johnny Cash bash. Like that.
It's for Gleaner's Food Bank and all this shit.
Okay.
And it'll either be like, I'm just saying, one time it was Johnny Cash, one time it was this, and this one year it's the Ramones. So Tufties did the Mahones or whatever they're called, and me and Bruce and this Carl Arthur, we did a Ramones thing, and we're getting ready to be introduced, whatever, and I messaged Dee Dee's wife, hey, we're getting ready to go on, and she like, oh my god, tell everybody, I will thank you. Aww. And I was like, oh wait, and Dean Metcalf from the Bob and Tom show is like, I said, hey, I'm getting real-time message from Dee Dee's wife or whatever. So he grabs my phone and, hey, Dee Dee's wife is on telling it was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, man. It's fucking dope. So it's hard to pin it down, I know, but any band that you've played in, is there a show that will always stand out to you? I don't want to say your favorite show because I know that's tough, but
I was just talking about this to a guy on the interwebs, Ayot Zed in Bielefeld. It was consistent. I mean, we played with the Ramones in San Francisco at the Kabuki Theater, and Zippy Pinhead, he was in this band called the Los Populeros now, and it was you probably won't have ever heard of any of these bands, but it was a bass player from the Pointed Sticks, and Buck Cherry from he won a bunch of money from the band Buck Cherry, or the guy Buck Cherry, but the first Buck Cherry in this band called the Modernettes. Art Bergman from the Young Canadians. Have you heard of that song? Let's go to fucking Hawaii. Get drunk in this. But they Art Bergman was and then Bill Kirk. They were kind of a super group from Vancouver, but we're playing together in San Francisco. And Zippy taught me how to do triplets. You know that?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck. And the first time I successfully did it without Zippy sitting over my shoulder was opening for the Ramones at the Kabuki Theater in San Francisco. And Arturo Vega was our buddy. So we got to, a lot of times they wouldn't let you use the whole PA. They would, here's where the Ramones go, and this is where your level goes. We got to be right in the level with the Ramones, and we got to use all the lights because Artie did the lights. So we had the fucking awesome, the stage lights were so white, bright, you couldn't see a fucking thing.
Oh shit.
But it was amazing. And we were playing Noise Boys, and I did the and I almost stopped playing because I was like, I did it. And then at the end of the song, that's what I was going to say. At the end of the song, we and it was the first time I've ever did the I can die now. I did.
Hell yeah.
I got the sound.
That's awesome,
so
man.
That was pretty cool. I was pretty made up about that. But yeah, I did my first triplet and got my first.
That's fucking great, man.
But yeah, Ayot Zed in Bielefeld, played there several times, and it was pretty sure one of the first shows in Germany where they went. I mean, it was packed, and they went ape shit. and there's a you can YouTube. There's Toxic Reasons Live. It's Limited Nuclear War, and it's 9 times out of 10. If you Google that, Toxic Reasons Live, Limited Nuclear War, that's at AZ in Bielefeld, and it was fucking great. It was it was consistently a great thing. And there was the back on the Hannes story, the singer for the KGB, when he came in town, and like I was saying, Danny wrote a couple of the songs. I think Tuffy wrote a couple of the songs. I wrote a couple of the songs, Merle. And one of the songs I wrote, it already had lyrics, but it was about AZ in Bielefeld. There was a lot of the bathrooms in Europe are sometimes not quite as nice as
kind of melody-ish.
Yeah. And there was a kind of a group room where you just, there was the pee stalls, and then there was the shitholes. There were the Turkish toilets where it's just like a hole in the floor with like sort of raised foot platforms, and you just stood on those and shot it in the hole. And there was no doors, and girls would be going in, and I was like, we're getting ready to play. I gotta fucking take a doozy. And I was like, fuck. And I go, I can't do it in the thing. And I went to one of the promoter guys, and I said, is there like a more private water closet I can use? And he goes, oh yeah. Go there, up the stairs, 3 floors. There's a water closet you may use. I go, okay. So I go up the fucking stairs, and I get in the door, and I close the door, and all the graffiti was in English, and it was all about, hey, who'd you know to get to the good bathroom? Blah, blah, blah. One of them was, oh, welcome, weary traveler. Da, da, da. And I'm like, finally you can. And I'm like, and I wrote a song about it. And I sailed across the water, and it's group room number 1, but I'm feeling like it's number 2, and I don't think the job is getting done. But it was silly lyrics, and I got the, oh, welcome, weary traveler, though your journey's just begun. And I had all these words to it, and the music to it. And Hannes really liked the music, but he goes, I will change the lyrics to German. And it was it's actually the title track of the album, Kraut Gringo Blitzkrieg, and the words are about him coming to America, hanging out with Zero Boys and Toxic Reasons and Danny from Sloppy Seconds, and writing these songs and blah blah blah.
Hell yeah, it's
pretty good. So he was allowed to change the lyrics. I can only remember a few of the lines. Says I'd like to record it again and put and the thing is about the lyrics is you can't tell I'm talking about taking a shit. There was Omaha, Nebraska.
Tongue in cheek.
Yeah. Omaha, Nebraska. Terry Hollywood was just in the band. And I wrote a song, and they put it on one of the albums. It was like, oh, the drummer wrote a song. But it was called You Gotta Believe. And this kid came up to me, and he goes, they told me you wrote the song Gotta Believe. And I said, yeah. He goes, you guys playing that tonight? And I'm like, oh, Terry's, kind of, it's one of the songs we really didn't go over. So I don't think we're playing it. And he told me a story that he was getting kicked out of his house, and he wrote a note to his family and put the lyrics of that song. And that's what stopped him from getting kicked out or whatever. And he was like, that's what it's about, right? And it totally wasn't anything near that. And I was like, yeah. And that when that happened, the dam broke on my lyric writing, because I found out it doesn't matter what it means to anybody else, because they're gonna figure it out wrong anyways.
Right.
So just, I mean, like John Lennon said, just make it rhyme.
Right.
And a lot of the times, I'll come up with like a vocal sound. You gotta believe. Okay, you gotta believe. Now I gotta write a line to something that goes with that. And then you put a line, and then another line, and then you put those 3 lines together. And now it means this, because that sentence goes with this sentence and that sentence. So it just sort of comes together as not as I'm gonna write a song about peace and love and understanding. I'm just gonna write a whatever. I got the music and make vocal sounds until I come up with words, and then it made it a lot easier to write songs, to come up with lyrics. It was amazing.
Hell yeah, man.
Someone getting it wrong made it easy for me to get it right.
Absolutely, man. Fuck yeah, dude.
Mhm.
Well, you know what? We are running up on time, man.
Oh, sweet.
So I do want to reiterate. So let's see here. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but Cam Fong as Chino.
No, Cam Fong as Chin Ho.
Jin Ho.
Chin Ho
So-
is the new. We were going to practice today, but Julie had too many things going on. Captain Steele hasn't been able to make the last couple of practice. So if Captain Steele, you're seeing this, we are now a 4-piece. Because my nephew Tommy is playing it, and he is fucking rocking it.
Hell yeah.
And I showed him a couple of the songs that we're going to play, and then I heard him in his room practicing, and I was like, holy shit. And then the first time we ran through it with just Tommy, Julie, and I, and he got the best parts of the lead of this one song from the song, and then he threw in his own little bits that, I was like, oh, that was tasty, and because I wanted it to be like exactly like the song. He put his, and I said, do you want to just stay, not be a fill-in? He says, yeah. And so I've shown him some more songs, and I heard him jamming on it today. It was
that's awesome, man.
Oh, he's it's very cool.
Hell yeah.
So I get to play with my nephew.
So yeah, we get to look forward to that, and you've got stuff coming in the works for.
Apparently, Nuvo is going to announce that some Toxic Reasons we're going to play somewhere, because we need to tune up for. I mean, we're jamming at Vessa's to get ready for our European thing, but we're going to do a local show. We're trying to do something down in Cincinnati,
heading out to Europe as well.
Yeah. And
as Danny said, across the lake,
across the pond. Yeah,
the pond. Shit.
Yeah,
said it wrong.
The Hannes one on the song. He took kind of a line. I sailed across the water, but he says, "Unter mir der große Nass," under me the big wet.
Big wet. Dude,
but
man, damn,
that was fun.
Damn, it has been such a fantastic fucking time hanging out with you and shooting the shit and hearing all these great stories. Thank you for taking time out of your Memorial Day weekend to come up here and hang out.
Thanks for having me. That was
making the fucking whole of a fucking drive, man.
Yeah,
dude, seriously, it's been an honor and a pleasure sitting here hanging out and shooting the shit.
The pleasure was all mine. The honor is mine. Yeah,
fuck yeah. Cool. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you this Wednesday live from the Smoker's Garden for a special midweek crisis. And hey, if Robbo was here, he'd tell you, turn on your headlights. Shop smart. Shop as smart.
And be nice to truck drivers.
Absolutely. Don't fuck around.
Don't fuck.
Coming on. Speed. Get out. Away.
Get out of the fucking way. Be nice to us.
Hell yeah. You're the best, JJ. Thank you. Thank you again. You're the bomb, man.
That was cool.
Cheers, everybody.